Hi everybody, woohoo! I think I'm live. Hey, there we are. Sorry about that. We're back up. Look at this price. Oh my God, 35. I think this live stream must be good for the price. I mean, pump, 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 pump. I hope you guys are loving that. That's for sure. Let me make sure the audio is running as well. Very cool. Oh yeah, audio's going well. Nice. So let's get into the chat, folks. Get in there. Of course, it's great to be able to live stream as well. So we've got Runes guys in there. Hex Token, did you go away to put another 10 million bag in? We're at 56 million now. It's crazy. It is so crazy. It's so good to have, of course. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself out there. Crypto tonight. We are live. Woohoo! Hey, I just realized, there's a big gap between live streamers. So, hey, it's a good thing I'm filling in some of these gaps, isn't it? Because it's great to have the community be able to focus in as we do. The sacrifice is pretty much day one. So, we are powering it up in the total amount of sacrifice. We're going to check out all of that. I got a few extras, of course, from the previous live stream. Now, we did have a bit of a fool come into our chat and said that Richard Hart was live. He wasn't live. Was about to finish anyway, so that's what made me wrap up probably about 7 minutes earlier. But nevertheless, I'm going to make sure I double check on those notices as well. I could have done it live stream, but we were over an hour and 10 minutes. I normally do about an hour and 20. But hey, we're going to let this go a bit longer. And of course, I thought, hey, why not do another live stream? Third one in a row. We're going to do updates. It is the first day, and it's exciting. So it's on the top of my mind most of the day. So I'm enjoying it. Hope you are too. Let's get into it. And of course, DHexkin in the house. Hey guys, looking good. Yeah, looking very good. So I'm going to just get my studio set up a bit better. Make sure that my computer is running okay. I'm moving to a new computer soon. So I've got a brand new one and going to set that up as this computer's iMacs are getting a little old, but onwards and upwards. So we're going to fix it up. So I've got a new one for Christmas and yeah, going to set that up with the right stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. Keanu says happy day one. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I love it, Keanu. That's the spirit. Nice one, Keanu. Absolutely. That's it. Happy day one. And let's get in. Look at this price, man. 35. Smash, smash. And of course, that was pretty cool. Let's do the hourly on this. This is the Hex chart. Look at that. Now, last time I did a live stream, we were back up on an hour, remember? And it started falling back a bit down to, I think it started falling back down here. Yeah, we started a live stream up here and started falling back down here. So I've been doing live streams. This is the third one for today. And of course, was probably the first one to open, right? I was the first one to pick that up. So that was a bit of a luck of the draw there as well. And of course, you got the people on different time zones streaming at different times over in the world. Of course, this suits my time zone because it's through the day, and now we're in the evening. Now my time, the 9:30 p.m. in the evening. So on Thursday, so it suits me pretty well. The 30th, of course. We've got New Year's Eve tomorrow, the 31st. It's going to be a big party time. I hope you guys have a lot of fun out there for sure. It's exciting. Even if you're not doing anything, right, you've got the sacrifice and community to get involved because it's super exciting to see the results. Let's jump in. We've had a few updates from Richard, so we're going to get in on that. Let's do it. And of course, here we are. We've got lots of cool updates. We're going to get into it. If you've missed the sacrifice, it has started. PulseX started. It's been going for, I don't know, 10 hours, something like that. Maybe 9 hours. We're going to double check that, but 10 hours it's been going. There it is. 10 hours ago, it got launched. Very cool. The PulseX Sacrifice is creating a set of people that believe in freedom of movement, assembly, and a protected human rights. Sacrifice to prove you believe. Pre-access, you can sacrifice directly to this address. This is the main Ethereum address. Obviously, you can switch between the Ethereum network and anything that's based on Ethereum, like Polygon, second layer, Binance Smart Chain. You can switch between those. And of course, you can use the same address on those blockchains to sacrifice to. All you have to do is take your MetaMask, for example, your Trust Swap, your Coinbase wallet, and you can transfer from there, from your wallet address, as long as you control the keys to this address, and your sacrifice will count. It'll be in the transaction hash, and of course, they'll know it's you. And that's how you get credited later on when the distribution happens. And of course, you get your tokens when mainnet goes live. Currently, we're going to look at that. Currently expected probably early the beginning of March at this stage is kind of where we think it's going to be, given the fact that this PulseX sacrifice is running all the way through to the 25th of February. You heard it right, 25th of February. That long period probably leads us up into the Pulsechain mainnet, gives it more time for Pulsechain testnet 2.0 and testnet 3.0 to run, and to do the validators, to test the bridges, and of course to test the AMM bot, the market maker bot, which is going to be a critical component, as well as the validators, to making PulseX take off. So it's going to be super huge, awesome stuff there. So that's a bit of a wrap up for you folks. That is the official address, OX075, and it finishes in 1DC8. Now all the links are in the video description. Do double check them, of course, against official links. That's what we do in this community. We double check officials because the scammers are everywhere, and they can try all sorts of tricks as well. So very, very cool. I only trust the address you confirm on multiple channels, says Richard. You also see this address in Richard Calls, so check that out as well. I haven't got that link in the video description, but you can check the official ones. You can also sacrifice on a Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Avalanche, Ethereum Classic, and Ethereum Optimism using that one Ethereum address, because you switch between the networks. Once again, they're all based on Ethereum, and that's why. So cool. There's also a Tron address out. So only at the moment we only got the ETH address and the Tron address, and you can sacrifice to Tron there using Tron or USDC, something like that, that's on the Tron network. You can send to there. Other chains, for instance, Bitcoin, you need to wait for the dApp to go live. That's not yet live. We're going to check that out as well. And of course, we've had a couple of updates since our last live stream, so we're going to get into that as well. Everyone gets the same 10,000 free PLS points or tokens per $1 sacrifice. So every dollar that you sacrifice in the first opening 10 to 12 days, you're going to get 11 days, I should say. You're going to get, was it 11, 12 days? Day to night, yeah, so 11 days. You're going to get $1 per 10,000 points if you sacrifice in the first 11 days. Very, very cool. Until the January 10th, when it's 5% higher rate per day for 47 days after that. So think of it from the 10th of February all the way, 10th of January all the way up to the 25th of February when it finishes. That's the 47 days and then on top of that, of course, that's the base amount. On top of that, you can qualify for a bonus amount for volume, the volume multiplier. That's up to 2.5x, so 1 to 2.5x, and that's based on how much USD you sacrifice compared to everybody else. So if there's big whales sacrificing tens of millions, they're going to be getting that 2.5 volume multiplier, because that's the biggest, and that's the way that's going to continue all the way up to the last 5 days. Which you only then after the last 5 days between day 21st of February and the 25th of February, it will be a 1.75 volume flat bonus. So you'll be out of you won't be competing in the 1 to 2.5 bonus on top of that. So that's how that works. Very cool. There's a disclaimer. Of course, you're sacrificing for freedom and expect no work of others, that sort of thing. Very cool. There's this disclaimer there at that link. We've talked about that. Nice, and of course, beware of scammers out there. They're everywhere, so be careful and get the official links. Very, very cool. And so that's all the stuff. Richard announced it live, of course, with this video, and just officially backed up the fact that this was all real and happening. So that was really cool to see as well. And yeah, very cool. So we're going to go through up to the top here. We've got some nice little updates. We're going to jump over to the up one here. So USDC, USDT, DAI, BUSD are good to go on ETH, Polygon, and BSC. Remember, Polygon is a second layer of Ethereum network, and BSC is a fork of Ethereum. So you can sacrifice to the same address that we talked about, the ETH address below. Now, these are the updates that we got since our live stream when we finished about 3 hours ago. The PulseX.com info site is up. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! We kind of looked at that anyway, but it's on a different site. We're going to check that as well. It's now the PulseX.com site has been directed to the site that we were looking at the last live stream. The PulseX.info site, sacrifice site, is not yet available. That is the dApp. That's the one where you can connect your wallet and check the network and choose the token that you want to, or coin that you want to sacrifice to, and that will give you the address for that. So that is going to be up sooner, I think, not too far away, I imagine, because the pulse.com site has been linked, but we'll see. Also, that was 2 hours ago, 33 minutes ago, we got another update from Richard. Yes, the BNB, USDC, USDT, DAI, ETH on Ethereum, BSC, Polygon, and AVAX work. Yes, you can use Trust Wallet or Coinbase Wallet because you have you own your own keys. So if you own your own keys to the wallet, you can use it. And of course, TrustSwap and Coinbase on top of MetaMask, you can use. Yes, ignore all the fake support imposters that will respond to this message. Be very careful; it's very tricky out there. So make sure you go to the official sites. That's probably the safest thing you can do. And that's the latest updates from Richards, which I think is pretty awesome. So nice there as well. Let me get into the chat a bit, and I'm going to jump over to the price at the moment. We're going to move on, but we're definitely going to check that out. Crypto by night, that's the European pump. Yeah, I like that. The European pump, they're waking up, and we talked about that. I've got myself another nice cup of tea. This time I got milk. While I was on a break, I went and got some milk, so tea's tasting good. Crypto Down Under says Cura, brother. Hey, Cura to you. Kate Poi Kai as well. So nice. Hex says, such a hard word to say, honestly, D. We've got to stop meeting like this. Went to sleep listening to you. Now at work listening in. Hey, I like that, D. That's so hilarious. All right. So Hex Token says, here we go. Rocket. I love it. Feeling the hype. And then Cal's in the house. Hey, happy to catch you live, my man. Exciting times. Well, you had a good chance because it's the third live stream today on covering on Hex Token, covering the sacrifice, which is so exciting. Nice thing. Dingo's in the house as well. Good to see you, Dingo. Hammer's in the house. Very nice. Peace to you too. And prayers out there too. Nicholas Singh says, can I sacrifice Hex from Polygon? And you can. There's about 6.9 million Hex on the Polygon network. You can sacrifice your bags on there for sure. You just send it to the ETH address that we talked about. It is in the video description, the ETH address there, and the link to Richard Hart's tweet as the source as well. So try to help you out there. Thomas says, Hex Token, we are pumping now. Keep the great work up, mate. Hey, I appreciate that. We'll do. And I'm as excited as you guys. So it is a lot of fun for me, for sure. Nicholas says, number 2, can I sack BUSD, BSD, mate, or BST for BSC. You can sacrifice a BUSD to do that, Nicholas. You can do that. Cal says, what is your sacrifice strategy? Well, I don't really talk too much about it, but I'm going into everything. So I'm sacrificing into I've sacrificed into Pulsechain already, and I actually went through in a syndicate with that. So I joined with people that I trust 100% and very close. And so we've done that together. That's why we got a higher volume multiplier. And of course, you can only do that if you have a very, very, very trustworthy, close network around you. Number 2, for this one here, I'm going in with a percentage as well of my liquid Hex and other tokens that I've got. I'm going with a percentage of those. So that's my strategy for that. So hopefully it gives you a bit of idea. All right, cool. And let's go. So I definitely want to get a double of the liquid stuff on the Pulsechain because I'm going to do some trading on Pulsechain, particularly for the bridge starts up. So I'll be doing some of that. I'm one of those people that will be doing some swapping stuff. So that's pretty much it. So it's going to be a bit of fun for sure. All right, so that's our latest updates from Richard, which is pretty cool. And of course, we're going to check in on that during the live stream and see whether he adds anything more to that. But it should be pretty fun, I should say. Here is the main one. He's added to the top. This is the sacrifice address for the Binance Smart Chain. If you're just asking about that, I think that was Nicholas. So Nicholas, that is the address for the Binance Smart Chain. All you have to do is send that to that because obviously it's using ETH code as well. So nice. All right, let's jump on to PulseX.com is up. Woohoo! It's up, but it's also linking to our easyhex.xyz site, which we were using in the last live stream. But Hex.com is nice, being directed. I like up and to the right. So we're loving that. And I'm loving this cup of tea. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's go to PulseX. We're going to jump on the main page there. And here is this time. So we've got the PulseX sacrifices started. Go to pulsex.info to sacrifice. Here is the DApp as well. This is the DApp. What we call the DApp is the pulsex.info site. That is not up and running at this stage. Here it is here. And of course, that has not been added to. So we're still waiting for that for update. That will have all the non-Ethereum, non-Tron addresses that you can sacrifice to. So we're waiting for that to be like Bitcoin and BSV and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's going to be available once that DApp is up and running. So there's only 2 addresses at the moment, the main ETH address, but you can use that on multiple chains, including Polygon and BSC, Ethereum, other Ethereum versions, and you can also use the Tron one and the tokens on that. So that's pretty cool to see that. All right, so that's cool. Let's have a look here at the total value, 55.6 million. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's really good. I think we were up around about 670, 700 million on the Pulsechain sacrifice, around that. That was the public sacrifice, somewhere in that ballpark. And here we are already within 10 hours. We're up at 55. Now, I was calling maybe on the conservative side, 250 mil, 300 mil. We'll see where we smash that. We could get up to 2/3 maybe. But if I get smashed, I don't care. That's great. The more the merrier. Obviously, it gives a strong valuation to the PulseX straight away. Obviously, this is the cost price, but actually the total amount sums up, gives kind of like a capital raise, and you can leverage that, multiply that out for the actual valuation that people will perceive. So very, very cool, like value locked almost. Nice. So we got over 40 million Hex. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, bad. And Ethereum 8.2 million, USDC 4.8, Tether 1.1 million, DAI at 355. Crow, Crypto.com at 216, Shiba Inu at 170,000. We had someone sacrifice some Shiba Inu in the last live stream. Very congratulations there. Wrap Bitcoin, Chainlink, Uniswap at 20,000, Wrapped ETH at 18,900, True USD at 12,000, Maker at almost 4,600 there. Let me just pull that up a little bit. We've got Fox token, 2,900, and so on. Synthetics, Terra, Curve DAO, Gemini Dollar, Ampleforth, OX, The Graph, 1 Inch Network, got a little bit of there, Aave, BAT, and Binance, and Celsius and Compound. So we've got those out there. So definitely get out there and shill PulseX to those communities there, folks, and we'll lift those numbers as well. So time until sacrifice race increase, you will get 10,000. This is the base amount. Base amount, you will get 10,000 PLX points per dollar you sacrifice. So $1 is going to get you 10,000 basically pulse tokens or points. We just use those interchangeably, really. So 10,000 points per $1. And of course, the sacrifice rate will increase for the first time on January the 10th at 000 UTC time. So basically, once the 10 starts, that's when it will go up 1.05. And it has quite an impact. Remember, if you're used to the Pulsechain one, which is kind of still on, but it's the rates like probably, was it $1,600 or $700 or something? It's crazy at the moment now. So you're lucky to have the PulseX opportunity now for those missed out on that. So very, very cool. We can see that the rate's going to go up. So we've got a nice flat rate here up until the end of the 9th. And then on the 10th, it starts going up 1.05 per day. And that's going to happen for 47 days all the way to the end. And of course, going to get pretty expensive, almost close to $10, $9.90, as opposed to $1 for 10,000 points. So it's going to get 10x up from there. So just take that into account. The other thing, of course, is the volume multiplier, and the volume multiplier is 1 to 2.5. Like I say, that is going all the way up until the last day, to the 20th of February, and then on the last 5 days, the 21st to 25th, it's going to be 1.75 flat. Just take that into account. So that's particularly important if you're a bigger account sacrificing. It's all about the US dollar. So if you're a smaller investor, a couple $1,000, you wouldn't worry too much about that. You'll just get the earlier is better. Just get earlier is better. Get the 10,000 points earlier in this place here. And Richard reaffirmed that, of course, as well. That's the best way to go about that. So nice. And I don't know why my mouse is rolling around all the time. So project status: after Pulsechain mainnet release, sacrifices will be able to access their free PLSX as well to get up to date with the Pulsechain announcements. Also join the official PulseX Telegram chat, and also follow PulseX Twitter. So you can definitely, I've got the links to this in the video description, so you can cover the site and join these if you want. Also, you got the Twitter and Telegram at the top there. Very cool. And this is the DApp, not yet live. That will, if you're looking at Bitcoin or something else to sacrifice, that will be up later. That's the way it goes. Nice. Cal says, do you understand how the rates are established prior to the bridge opens? So the AMM bot will do that. It's going to run that. All prices start from 0. They need to be at least that for a day, I understand it. And then the AMM bot will then harvest. They will then copy the chain system state copy, harvest those tokens, and give back to the people that had those tokens on the ETH chain. Will get a lot more pulse. That's what it's going to do. It's basically somewhere people talking about 1 to 1.2 million to 1 ETH. So there's a lot of harvesting that's going to throw all those tokens. It's the scale of it's really big, and of course it's much bigger than what we know. So that's going to set a ratio, and so it's already going to have value, potentially a lot of value straight off the bat. So by the time people get find the chain opens up to the public, it's going to be all rearing to go. So the price could really go up quite strong. And of course, the trading is going to then, once people start trading up that first trade, it's going to go up and down, and we'll find a value eventually. So hopefully that's kind of a general explanation there, Cal. Rebel says, can I send coins from SafePal wallet? If you control the keys, you can send it. If you control the keys, you can. I'm not familiar with SafePal, but if you control the keys to it, then yes, you can. Just basically, if you're on an exchange and you don't control the keys to anything, which typically exchanges you don't, you're just on a centralized platform, and then don't send it from an exchange. With the exception later on when some of the tokens, I think it's one or two of them, might have a memo that you can send. Apart from that, you otherwise wouldn't do it. Ronnie says, can Shiba and Dodge be sacrificed? Shiba definitely can. We've seen Shiba on the list there as well. So we're going to scroll back down here. So Shiba was on the list. We had, let me go back up here. I think it was up here. So we had Shiba. Shiba Inu is there. So already $170,000 Shiba sacrificed. Dodge, I think Dodge is coming up. If I understand rightly. It's going to be up on the, you're going to have to wait for the DApp to launch. Let me just jump over to the sacrifice page. So these are the tokens at the moment on the Ethereum. And what else? Let me have a look here. Yeah, all these are on Ethereum. You can pause the video if you want to check those out. These are from the Pulsechain Pulse Info site, which I've copied into here. And of course, the tokens will pretty much be similar to this with a few extras, which we'll find out what they are. Yeah, you got Dogecoin. So yeah, Dogecoin looks like it will be in play as well. So looks okay. I'm just trying to see whether there's any in there at the moment. So have a look on that. I think Dogecoin might be a bit later. Yeah, I definitely think Dogecoin is later. Don't see any in there at the moment. So unless they're on the last page. So look here. Yeah, definitely think Dodge is on a later one. Can't see any in here at the moment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's coming later. I don't think that's on the ETH chain that I'm familiar with. So definitely I think that's coming later there. Let us know in the chat if anyone else knows different. Ash says, have you slept? Have you slept? No, so it's not that time yet. It's still only, I started this live stream at 9:30 p.m. So I've been lucky that most of the launches happen during the day. So pretty good. Ash says, yeah. Julia says, hey, hello, can I sacrifice my crappy ADA for PulseX? You will be able to. I'm not sure if ADA's on there yet either. Yeah, ADA's on its own chain, so you have to wait for that. You're going to have to wait for the Pulse Info DApp for that. You're going to have to wait for that at the moment. So look here, Cardano. Yeah, Cardano there. So Cardano and Dogecoin, you'll have to wait for the app from that, as I understand it. And there's definitely no ADA in there yet. So yeah, definitely. All right, so let's jump over to have a look through down here. We've got Sergio's in-house, only 1 million sacrificed on BSC chain. Please, 30 million on ETH, not including Hex. 30 million in total, not a lot, says Sergio. Actually, we're actually up a lot higher than that. PLSX site not running. You cannot connect wallet and see which token you can sacrifice. That is correct. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Sergio. I think you're talking about some different numbers there that aren't the case. So Julia says, thanks. Big shout out. So we're going to get into, this is the one here. So at the moment, this is, we're waiting for this to update. This is not updated yet, but PulseX.com is directed to easyhex.xyz. And of course, Richard has announced that here on here as well. So just take into account that is live. PulseX.com looks cool. So these are all latest stuff that's come out here, folks. So this is looking pretty good. Look at this. Nice. Yeah. So that's a new video. Richard just posted that 29 minutes ago. Looks very, very cool. And of course, if you're wanting to sacrifice at the moment, that's the main address there, OX07, and ends in DDC8. That is the main ETH address at the moment. And there's also a second address, the Tron, which is out as well. You can do Tron. So very, very cool. Let's jump to Ethereum, of course. We are going to refresh this. and we can see that the numbers, Sergio, that you had, Serge, that are not up to date there. So we've got Hex at the moment is up at 122 million Hex has been sacrificed. Amazing, $42.8 million on that. So amazing stuff. We've got DAI stable at 8.5 million and USDC at 4.8. This is on the ETH block explorer, and of course we've got USD tether at 1.1, looking very, very cool. Followed by Crow and Very and Shiba after that. Wrap Bitcoin. Chainlink is next. And what else we got in here? So very cool. Uniswap in there, 20,000. Wrapped ETH and a few others. Matic token down there. True USD. Wax tokens down there. So if you're into the gaming NFT stuff, we've got Decentraland down there. Mana if you're into the Decentraland stuff, and the very cool. So some good stuff there. That is on the Ethereum chain. Then we've got the Binance Smart Chain. Let's check this. Now the Binance chain has this other token which I'm not familiar with. I don't think this one's quite real, this Exxon one. So I always exclude that off at the moment. But that may be real. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't seen it before myself. Doesn't have a change in price there either. So I'm just taking that out. I've got BNB here at 372,000 on BNB, 872,000 on BUSD. Someone asked about that on the Binance Smart Chain. So we do have BUSD being sacrificed, almost $1 million actually. And of course we got BSC USD on Binance Smart Chain being sacrificed, USDC being sacrificed 114,000. We've got pegged Binance ETH Ethereum, which is 34,000 being sacrificed, and we've got Pancake Cake has been sacrificed $1,900 and so on. So just looking down there, we've got Matic token also sacrificed at $273 as well. We've got PulsePad all the way down there, $144 on PulsePad. Can you believe it? You'd think that'd be a bit better, right? That they're all maxis there. So that's looking not too bad there as well. So very, very cool. And of course, then we've got Polygon. We're sitting at 118,000. We're going to jump that up and refresh that and see how much is in there. $124,000 on Polygon sacrifice so far. Looking cool. We got Matic at up there at 11,822. So very nice. 4,745 Matic sacrificed. We've got Hex is obviously 16,000 Hex been sacrificed. Now remember, there's about 6.9 million Hex on a Polygon. And Polygon is a second layer of Ethereum, as opposed to Binance Smart Chain, which is a fork of Ethereum, but without the system state copy. That's where Pulsechain is going to be amazing with the system state copy in there, as well as the PulseX doing the big yield farming and the AMM bot harvesting all those tokens when it does system state copy, pushing them into PulseX and creating the biggest airdrop in history and the biggest yield farming history in crypto history. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We've got the USDC in there, 214,000. As well, so looking good there. Binance, sorry, we're coming back to Polygon here. We've got some wrapped ETH, we've got DAI stable, some quick swap in there, and some wrapped BTC. So they seem to be the big ones sacrificed on to the ETH address. It's the same ETH address, but on the Polygon chain. And you can see this is the same ETH address, but on the BSC chain. And of course, here is the ETH address on the Etherscan. So you can just switch between your networks, sacrifice tokens on those other networks as those other people have done there. Very, very cool. And of course, there are other chains that you can sacrifice to as well. So we'll jump back to Richard's to comment on that. You can, let me just go back down here. You can sacrifice to, using that same ETH address, you can actually sacrifice to, we talked about Binance Smart Chain, we talked about Polygon, we looked at those on the Explorer, people sacrificing. You can do Avalanche, Ethereum Classic, and Ethereum Optimism, which I think is Atrium, Atrium as well. So nice. Then here's the Tron address, of course. That's the second address, so you can do Tron, and you can do the Ethereum one. Nice. So very, very cool update there. I think maybe Richard's doing some more updates, who knows, but that's pretty cool. All right, so let's get into the chat there as well, catch up. David West says 14 billion was sacrificed for Pulsechain, just to put it in perspective. Well, that includes the Origin account, right, David? So let's talk about that. So we're going to get that sort of stuff will come in later, is my guess. Maybe day 11, maybe day 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 is probably my two guesses those times, because I think that it's going to let the public get the best rate and then come in later. So then you can pretty much say if it takes 85%, whatever the public takes, it's going to get about that percentage, is my guess there. So yeah, surely Fortress, this is going to be so huge. It's going to be massive. It really is exciting. Blau says the community will hopefully make a Pulse Lead type site. Yeah, that Pulse Lead is pretty cool as well. So let's pull up that Pulse Lead while we're here. Pulse Lead. Pulse Lead XYZ, and of course this had a kind of a snapshot. It's not exactly right, but I had of the actual Pulsechain sacrifice, and you can see it was 670 million around there. It was around there. It was give or take the values moving around. This excludes the Origin account coming in and doing that big valuation up to like 14 billion that you're talking about, because we're going to end up with like around 135 to 150 trillion Pulse tokens, and that's going to be deflationary, with 25% of the fees being burnt during people transferring using smart contract stuff and that, which obviously be a bit higher value, but it's going to be interesting to see that play out. So yeah, that's where the value I'm talking about there. Hopefully that helps. All right, cool. We've got a comment there. I don't have my moderator in the house, so I'm going to have to manually delete that myself. Let me just go back up here and hide user on this channel. Yeah, that's happening right now. Very, very cool. All right. Right, so we've got Purges in the house. I am not counting Hex in total amount in USDC value. Total is 13 million, says Serge. 13 million. Not sure what that is. Oh, okay, you're excluding Hex. Okay, cool. Thanks, Serge. Appreciate that. Shirley Fortress, I bet more get sacrificed than Pulsechain, says Shirley. Yeah, we're going to watch that. That's going to be interesting to see whether that happens. Definitely the price of Hex is like twice as much as it was on the first 3 days. So, hey, it could do that quite easily in US dollar terms. So all it has to do, even with half the amount sacrificed, would be the case. So we'll watch that, surely. Was it 1.4, 14 billion, David West? Ronnie says, Fortress, do you think PulseX will do better than Pulsechain? And David Reed said, I read at 14 billion, they screwed up then. I said, David West, the sacrifice will be billions more. And numbers, surely says, numbers tell us every Richard Hart project so far raised more than the last. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be pretty impressive. I think the results are already good. We're only like 11 hours in, and here we are at a pretty amazing result. Already up at 55, so it's looking really good. I'm looking forward to a lot more Hex coming in to sacrifice, and of course all the Hex that gets sacrificed will go off the market. Pretty much will be held by the sacrifice account, and that then the people that are sacrificing the Hex won't get a copy on Pulsechain, but on the positive side, that actually takes supply off both Ethereum and on Pulsechain with the Hex supply, reducing the circulating supply of Hex, which is going to be super good. That's just like the Pulsechain sacrifice did. It's going to work out, and this is the perfect time because we had all these stakes coming out through November and December, and of course we've only got up to the 2nd of January left, and of course this sacrifice is over the next few days, going to help with taking some of that out of the market. And of course we saw a big stake that ended yesterday for about $500 million get restaked on the 28th of February, which was really fascinating to see that happen. So definitely big games in play there by the big holders of that. So very interesting play as well. So second time they restaked just before a major event. So I think that's pretty interesting to watch that. So nice. 56.5 million US dollars. That's just on the Ethereum chain so far. Of course, we're gonna. It's once the app's open, it's going to open up to Bitcoin and all the other different coins on the other networks. It's going to be pretty exciting to see that for sure. Rebel says, why was 112 ETH just moved out of the secretaries? So that, I understand it's been sold into a DAI stable. So that looks like the case. And with DAI stable, there's no controlling keys, unlike USDC or USD Tether. And Richard talks about that quite often. So I think that's kind of the approach that they've been taking there, moving that stuff into stable coins, especially with ETH showing weakness at the moment, pulling down, obviously off the highs. So I think that's probably the case there, Rebel. Hopefully it helps a little bit there. DHX says, what happened to the scam coin that got sent to the sacrifice wallet? Seems to have disappeared, right? So Looks like it got taken out. That's what looks happen. What am I up to there? Am I on ETHScan? I am. All right, so very cool. I'm not sure what happened. What happened to my? Let me just go back. Am I in the right place? I'm not sure what happened there, but seem to have lost my position on this page. So we're going to go back in again. And so yeah, so here we are. It's looking good. 122, almost 123 million hex sacrifice. This is really good, Stokes. And man, I'd love to get this up. You know, $500 million, $1 billion hex. That'd be really nice as well. So if we can do better than that, that'd be pretty cool. I'm just having a look back here on. Did I get out? Oh, I got out of the other one, so we'll come back to that. All right, so that, folks, we're waiting for this site. This is the DApp. If you're looking for Bitcoin and other stuff to sacrifice, we're waiting for this to update. Otherwise, we're looking good. Here are the coins. If you want to pause it on the ETH chain, there as well, and there, and also we've got Tron. So we've got Polygon Matic also on the ETH version. These are the coins on there too, so you can check that out. And of course, Tron. We've got these stables as well as Tron. You can sacrifice on there too. So very, very cool. So that's going to come out as well. And then the rest of them are going to open up once we have the PulseX DApp up and running, which hopefully won't be too far away. Very, very cool. At the moment, they've got the official Ethereum address, of course, you can sacrifice to, and we're waiting for, you'll see further instructions when the DApp is live, so nice on there. All right, so we've gone through the sacrifice amounts. Don't forget, if you want to sacrifice through Staker app, maybe not through MetaMask or whatever other wallet, Trust Wallet, whatever you got, you can sacrifice through your Staker app. The link to that is in the video description. If you haven't got that, you can also view only your Ethereum wallet address. You can put that in there, or you can set up a smart wallet and you can use staking and stuff from there. They do have a weekly competition for people that stake 5,500 in 5 days. $8,700 every week is up for grabs. We've been covering that live on this channel. I think we're up to week 6 or 7. So very, very cool. Anyway, on the Staker app, you can sacrifice by just sending, using the sending function, just like you do on the MetaMask or Trust Wallet for sending address. You can do ERC20 tokens. Only Hex, ETH, and USDC are supported on the app. So just take that into account to the valid sacrifice address shared by the thread below. And it's already possible via the wallet to use the send function feature if you have a smart wallet. So you can do that. So very nice on there. Cool. And of course, if you want to do, see a video on how to do a sacrifice, if it's basically just sending from your address to the sacrifice address. But if you want to see a video on that, you can watch Hodl Dog's done a video on how to do it from MetaMask, and also using Treasure, the security stuff like that, and also showing you how to do it from a Staker app. So definitely watch that. That is in the video description. If you want to watch that video, Hodl Dog, do that. So very, very cool. Hodl Dog is pretty much the #1 YouTuber in the Hex Pulsechain PulseX environment. So great person to follow there. Nice. So looking good there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So 21 hours ago, of course, 73,000 stakers locking in 20 billion for 6 years on average. We hit the 6-year market. Hex is now the average stake length is 6 years. Can you believe it? Amazing result today. Also, we hit over 400,000 wallets today as well. So this is the day that just closed, day 758. So amazing. Those are some real big highlights. Get easily missed when you got the PulseX sacrifice on, but those are huge milestones. 6-year average stake on Hex, and of course 400,000 wallets as well in the Hex. So nice, 2 really cool milestones there. Let's get into some of the chat. Then I'm just going to catch up on the chat, and we're going to go to the Pulsechain timeline and PulseX timeline. I've updated that now with the latest information, so we'll talk about that. Julia says, can I sacrifice ADA from Euro Wallet directly, or do I need to connect it to MetaMask through BSC? To MetaMask through BSC? I guess you can. I'm not familiar with the Euro wallet, so I don't want to talk about stuff I'm not too familiar with. As long as you got the keys access to it, you can send it from your address to the sacrifice address. That was probably the main one there, Julia. Someone else, yeah. So Shirley Fortress says, I think it has to Ronnie Isco, because Richard Hart has more viewers now, bigger names interview him, and all the fake news about Hex and Richard Hart has met its demise. You're absolutely right, Shirley. I think that there's very little left in the way. I think he's managed to knock down a lot of those obstacles. Shirley Wales wants it too, Ronnie. Yeah, that's true. John Carrera is in the house. Hey, John, Good to see you, a Hex Token channel member. Big shout out to you. Share, brother. Always looking forward to your streams. Smash the likes here. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you're watching this live stream afterwards, leave your comments. I respond to all the comments as best I can. So very, very cool. Get into that. Dave West is in the house. This is such a scam that millions and billions of dollars are getting sacked, log, says David. I don't know about that, David. It's actually all about valuation. So Hex did pretty well, and obviously ETH was sacrificed through the AA lobby for 350 days. And look at the return for Hex people. So a lot of people are missing out and crying about it now, Dave. So yeah, Serge says that there is one more scam coin, 8.5 million on BSC Chains network Exxon. Yeah, that's why I pointed out, Serge. That's why I don't talk about it. I just ignore that value as well. So good point there, Serge. And David West says, baffles me that people think a billionaire needs to scam people, says David. And let's see. We've got Ronnie says, is there an advantage or disadvantage to sacrifice Ethereum rather than Hex? If I sacrifice Ethereum, then the fee will be less than the gas fee if I swap ETH for Hex. Well, obviously, to sacrifice Hex, the price is going up, and of course, you know, you want to get the when Hex you sacrifice it, it goes off the market, so you're actually supporting the longer term rise in Hex price going up. That's kind of the logic there. So yeah, the fee's marginal, right? So yeah, DHEX says just use your ETH, bro. It doesn't matter at all, says DHEXen. Yeah, so surely a sacrifice. Which one do you think will be worth less in the future? Well, my basic play is that PulseX will probably sacrifice the one which you think will be worth less in the future. That's true. That's another good way of looking at it. I'm actually thinking about sacrificing the one that you think will be worth. Yeah, it's going to be worth less. So that's probably the best way of putting it. No kidding, David. People really don't know any better, says Shirley. Yeah, that's right. So nice. All right. So welcome everybody to the live stream. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself. And we're covering the PulseX Sacrifice. This is the third update today, and of course, trying to give really good coverage for the community. Place to share the excitement of PulseX. Pretty fun, and we're definitely enjoying. Hex is really moving up here. We'll just go to the hourly here. We've in the last hour. We've actually hit 35.26 cents. Nice. And of course, that's a new high for the day as well. We're at 35.26. Yeah, that's just slightly higher than a couple of hours ago. So nice. And we're currently sitting just under 35 cents, which is pretty nice. So we're watching this. See more buyers. We've got a bit more volume in here as well. Cool. We'd had a bit of a lower volume there, but got a bit more volume in there. Looking pretty nice on there. Let's look at the daily as well and jump in here. Look at that green candle. Beautiful, eh? Beautiful green candle. And of course, it'd be nice to get a long string of these blue candles here. Sorry, green candles. And here we are up here. Nice. And of course, if I add back in my price formation, that's kind of my prediction that I had all the way back on the 12th. And it's looking pretty good at this stage. That green candle there, of course, is super pumping, but pretty nice. And the sacrifice is delayed there. So it just started on the 28th or 29th our time. So towards the end of the day, depends on where you are in the world when it started, but that's kind of where it started on. Just on the end of day 758 on Hex, so very nice. So we'll look out for that. It's going to be pretty fascinating. Huge volume candle today, 31 million just on this pair alone, and this is the USD version 3 pool. So amazing stuff there. I think it's version 3. Yeah, let me just get out of there for a second. Pretty sure it's version 3. Yeah, version 3 pool. So pretty amazing stuff there. And you can see the other Hex pools in there. We've got one there. I think that's the ETH pool, USDC, and I think that's the ETH pool there. I think those are the ones for. Pretty cool. All right, so we're going to go full screen on this and go back. We're also going to show that that's looking pretty nice there. We're going to get out of there and say that we're going to smash up against those top of the Bollinger Bands there. Looking pretty nice. We've got our CCI index looking really good. That's looking positive, so good and plenty of room to move up. And nice on the CCI. We've got the moving average looking super duper good too, looking nicely on the daily. And what else? We've got the RSI, still got plenty of room to move, can zigzag up the top here quite a bit. So you can see in the past there, we've got plenty of room. Looking good. We did have a nice rebound here, but I think we can stay up here for a little while before we come back down, is my guess there. Especially with this huge volume candle here, looking pretty good. If we can sustain that volume candle, we could do that for a number of days here, back here. So no reason why we couldn't do that up here as well. Have a couple of days, good days there. So nice. EFI is looking a little high extended, but still got a bit of room there to move as well. And what else we got there? Volume oscillator that's got a bit of room to move as well. You can see how far we can move up there, so not too bad. And finally, this is probably a very telling one, the DMI. We have something. I said this would happen, right? Yesterday I said this would happen, and that's really cool. See, we had the blue sell line, but the blue buy line is went below the signal line. There's a seller's line down here in orange going down, less sellers, more buyers. And of course, when we cross that red signal line, that could typically mean the price, the buyers would start to decline. But no, it looks like we're crossing back over the red signal line, so that's a really cool sign. And the buyers are still going south. So we'll watch that pretty closely over the next day, but that's looking promising as well. So I like that. So very cool on the daily there, and enjoying this candle as well. So very cool. All right, so we're going to jump over to the timeline in a second. I'm just going to get back to some of the comments. We've got Serge, your professional opinion on PLS mainnet. Will it go live before June or August? So the earliest date at the moment, we're going to get into that. That's our next topic. So stay tuned for that, Serge. We're going to get into that. Budget, Alex, is PulseX Sacrifice online? It is live, yes, Budget. And DHexagon is your sacrifice is timestamped. Yes, pretty much at the time that you get in there. People talk about half an hour time weighted average price, but I think it's actually going to just be based on your timestamp at the time. So that's my guess. Sergio Pitch sends estimated time of court suit against CoinMarketCap when will finished. Estimated time for court suit against CoinMarketCap. Oh, those things can take a few years. They've been served with papers, but that could take a little while there, Serge. I wouldn't be holding your breath on that one. It might take a while, but the papers have been served. All right, so let's jump over to the Pulsechain timeline. Bam, it's been updated. Yes, I had time to do it today. I'm very happy about that. So nice on there. We've got our rocket down here. It's currently sitting at 29 cents. Let's move our rocket up, folks. It's going to go all the way up. In fact, it's going to almost hit our red star. Now, our red star is for the Hexpo conference. This is run by Matty Allen. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Matty Allen. Does wonderful community leadership on his YouTube channel. So our rocket is just flowing up today, looking really pumpy. And of course, here is our, this is the expo. It's going to be on between the 6th and the 9th of January. It's going to be awesome. So you've got to definitely check that out. It's going to have a wide-ranging representation from community personalities, as well as community members as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. So anyway, so here we are on a Pulsechain, a testnet 2.0. This is this yellow line here. Obviously, we're currently here. I've got it running through at the moment. This is my estimate, running through to the 15th, middle of January. That may or may not be correct. That's why I've got a question mark there. Then I've got a Pulsechain testnet 3.0. So Pulsechain testnet 2.0 has got the Uniswap front end running on it. We've already watched that in other videos. Apparently, the bridge has been tested on it. That's run by Ruth, the dev. And then, of course, PulseX needs to be, I guess, tested, and that's probably been tweaked. It needs time because of the gamification in there, probably being a bit tweaked is my estimation based on the way I've heard to Richard. And of course, go.hex is the front end. At the moment, that's on Ethereum. You can do staking and stuff like that, but looking for something there on the Pulsechain to do the PHEX staking and stuff. Cool. Some people are creating their own front ends out in the community. So if you might want to get involved in the Telegram groups, you might be able to find those front ends that you can access your testnet stuff on at the moment. So it's all a preliminary drop at the moment because it's based on the block from back in November, I think it was, or earlier. So definitely check that out. So cool. In fact, the block's ages ago, actually. I think it's September, the block, because the block's 13,224,745, which is the same for testnet 1 and testnet 2. So that seems to be the case. So someone said November the other day. I thought that was wrong because I'm pretty sure it's the September block here. So cool. So we're waiting. That's all running at the moment. So it'll be a gradual release. That's the minimum viable product, the MVP. So that's what we minimally expect to run when mainnet, Pulsechain mainnet launches. The only issue there, of course, is the bridge might be a couple of days later than the mainnet goes live. Prices start at 0, and of course the AMM bot runs, does its thing, and of course then it sets up the pools, it harvests the tokens, it sets up the pools, creates that prints money out of thin air, potentially hundreds, billions of dollars, and of course that's how the setup goes. And then the bridge will open, then pairs will set up. We might have PLX versus PLS pools linked up, and then eventually the bridge maybe 2 days later or something will open up, and then we can have Ethereum and ERC20 tokens, external economic energy coming in the Pulse chain that way as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. On top of that, of course, a fiat on-ramp with a credit card solution looks like it's in play as well. Also, the Kinetics team, which is running Hex Scale, which is just a placeholder name at the moment for the big trust that's going to be a big buyer for the Hex. They also looking at fiat on-ramps, credit cards, and other alternatives as well. So looking pretty good there, folks. That there is what we're expecting to come into play. It is a complete ecosystem with superior tokenomics, particularly focused around deflation, and of course the biggest harvesting and biggest airdrop in crypto history. So it's going to be a game changer, folks. Also of all the dexes as well, Sushi Swap, Pancake. It's going to be massive, man. It's going to be massive for sure. All right, so that's cool on Pulsechain testnet. The validators are running, of course. There were a few issues, particularly when validators were down. And the last time I checked, there was 21, 20 or so validators. Some of them were offline. That caused some issues with the coding. They had to fix that up. Remember, the validator code is an add-on to the Ethereum, because Ethereum was a proof of work. It's currently trying to transition to ETH 2.0. I had staking in December 2020, and of course it's going to move to sharding and eventually dock ETH 1.0 at ETH 2.0. But of course, Pulsechain is a step ahead of that. Pulsechain has just moving to tag on a validated code to do proof of stake kind of thing. So that's pretty much how that's going to work to confirm the blocks on the blockchain and the transactions. And of course, you can end up when Pulsechain goes live, you'll be able to stake your Pulse with that with a validator. Or of course, you can take relatively more risk on if you look at that way, with putting Pulse into some pools and then getting LP tokens, and then putting that in the yield farming to earn PulseX as well. Obviously, you have permanent loss issues or permanent gain issues. Got to take that into account when the ratios change of the tokens. So there's a few things there that can provide you some opportunities. Of course, that's Pulsechain testnet 2.0. How long is that going to last for? We know that this testnet testnet 1.0, Pulsechain testnet 1.0 lasted for 77 days, and of course now we are in Pulsechain testnet, and of course that's been running for about 2.5 weeks, and of course that I've just got estimated that it might go to 15th of January, assuming that the validators is the main thing they're trying to get, make sure we're running smoothly. That is the most important bit to get that up and running at this stage, because that's going to be the fundamental block confirmation and staking tool. So pretty cool. Take your time, boys, and get that right. But the devs have been pretty bullish on that, pretty excited. But I think they've managed to fix a lot of those issues that they had with validators being down. Remember, there's going to be about 33 validators in Pulsechain, and of course, people will be competing to stay in there as the validator. They have to be reliable. They have to have get a lot more support from the community to stake, depending on how many tokens they have, and so that's going to be pretty fun to watch. Now, I do know that David Ferreira, I think it is, in the community wants to do a community one, so he might be someone that you might want to stake your Pulse tokens with, and you can earn a percentage of the fees from that. So, and of course, if you get more volume, that's great. If you think that the Pulse is going to go up dramatically in the medium long term horizon, then you're going to get more volume, and of course, more volume times higher prices means you're going to make mad gains, just like people in Hex made volume gains by staking, and then price gains by just the price going up, over 20,000x, but that sort of thing. So pretty amazing stuff. All right, so that's pretty much that. Then we've got Pulsechain testnet 2.0, 3.0 going to start at some stage. Now I've got them overlapping because Pulsechain testnet 2 overlapped with Pulsechain testnet 1, and of course that gave people that were testing on Pulsechain testnet 1 a couple of days to adjust and get back onto Pulsechain testnet 2, and I expect the same thing to happen with Pulsechain 3. So whenever this end date of Pulsechain testnet 2 is, which I've currently got mid-January, we could have Pulsechain testnet 3 coming and running, and of course the main point of the 3 looks to be at this stage. Richard Hart said on the 16th of December, yes, there'll be another testnet with balances written, so that's distribution balances. So I think we've kind of had preliminary ones put out, but this will be more finalized, more refined, and of course that's a second order thing. Obviously we can wait for that to be fully reconciled a bit later, but the main thing here is the AMM bot run. So that's the automatic market maker. That's the one that's going to harvest the tokens when it goes live. And once it chooses a block to run on the Ethereum, that's going to actually fork for the mainnet, which is coming up in the future. then I expect that to be maybe late February, early March in there. So we'll find out about that. It's going to be gamed a little bit by Richard to make sure that the market doesn't pull out liquidity out of Ethereum pools and other stuff like that, sort of things. But that's what's going to run, and that's the main thing, I think, from my point of view on 3.0. Obviously, the validators will also be checked there, and of course, maybe even the bridge as well. So everything will kind of get that second check on it, I guess, is the way we would put it. So that's what we're looking for there. And that because there's a bit more gamification in PulseX, that's probably going to be refined as well with the PulseX running. So I expect the AMM bot and the PulseX to be well tested on 3.0. That's why I got this dotted line going all the way up to the end of February. Got to about 24th at the moment to test out those things to make sure they all work perfectly fine for when mainnet goes live and they run it for real. And so that's going to be pretty cool. Then I expect a couple, maybe 2 days for them to have everything set up with the actual harvesting, everything, and then go live to the public. And so that's going to be all very interesting to see. Richard's going to run that so that the market can't manipulate the outcome, that Richard's in control of the outcome, so that creates the most value for all of us. So that's going to be pretty exciting to see. So that's why I've got at the moment just early March at the moment for the launch of Pulsechain and PulseX. So that's the rationale there, folks. Obviously, through the Pulsechain X launch has been on. We've got the PulseX. It's already launched like 29th, 30th, and it's going to run all the way through to the 25th. And of course, at the top part here, you're going to get 10,000 points per dollar. And then, of course, after the 10th, from 10th onwards, it's going to increase by 1.05% per day. So it's compound, so it's going to get pretty expensive. It's going to go from $1 per 10,000 points on the 9th to by the time you get to the end of the 25th there, it's going to be $9.90 per 10,000 points. So you're really paying a lot more, 10x or close to 10x more by the end. So you've got to make sure you get in early, especially if you're a smaller, medium player. You want to get in early. And of course, the volume bonus multiplier is in the bottom. So there's two components: the base amount, which is at the top there, and the volume multiplier is based on how much you, in US dollar terms, that you have sacrificed compared to everybody else over this period. Now that's going to apply from pretty much day one all the way through to about the 20th of February. And then after that, the last 5 days, 21st to 25th, is going to be a flat rate of 1.75. So earlier is pretty much better, folks. And then we could expect the Origin wallet to come in maybe on day 11 to sacrifice, and that's going to maybe soak up 85%. Pretty much expecting that to happen. And of course, that acts as a financial operator regulator, which helps to maximize the value of the project as well. It might come in then, or it might come in as it did in the Pulsechain in the last couple of days. Well, this flat rate of 1.75 is in, and that also allows people who get in early to get the better rate rather than the Origin account. So you got to balance it up. It's pretty cool like that. All right, so then we've got the Pulse Sacrifice, likely 10x to 1. That's what it is. Not likely. I would take that word out actually. So it is 10k to 1x. Cool. We've also got the volume multiplier bonus. We talked about that earlier. It's better, similar to Pulsechain tokens, but there'll probably be a few more. We'll wait for the info dat to come out. It was too late to put in a charity. Of course, we had a charity called SENS for long life research in the Pulsechain sacrifice. That's not in this one. And the freedom of association and movement is the purpose of the sacrifice. You expect nothing in return, but of course, you may get an airdrop from the PulseX. Nice. And of course, the transaction fee is going to be super cheap, and 29% will be buy and burn of that, and that allows for a deflationary token. Also, PulseX holders will control the DAO and the incentive token that goes to yield farmers. So it's pretty exciting. Nice on there. So that there's a bit of wrap up of where we're at the moment with the Pulsechain and the PulseX, of course, and that's going to lead into the new yield farming token as well, and we're looking forward to that. So that's token number 5, folks. Quinn Pumpernettles or whatever. And now Hex Scale, I've moved that from the end of December because we had no update from the Kinetics team, and of course I've moved that into about the 7th of January or onwards. So because if they're running lawyers and contracts and stuff like that, then everyone's on holiday, right? So the earliest I could see them kicking this off is the 7th of January. It may be mid-January or somewhere like that. So we just wait for an update from Kinetics team around the Hex Scale. Now, Hex Scale is pretty much like the Bitcoin Grayscale fund. It's going to get funds coming in and then buying Hex for that, and then staking at 5,505 days. It's a wonder. It's like a whale buy that's just going to keep buying all the time. It is really a beautiful thing to see. And of course, the cheaper they get it, Hex, the better. And of course, they want to get in before Pulsechain launches, and that way they can also get PHEX as well. So they're going to double their bags. Their investors will be very happy with them, especially the early ones. They're going to run through a private investment, as I understand it. So they've got already got $1 billion pipeline that they can have access to for that. And once they reach their private sale targets, they then can potentially put that on a public trust, is the way I understand it at the moment. And then, of course, that could potentially get listed on NASDAQ, and potentially people could trade IRAs into that, and also institutions could trade through that, because instead of owning the Hex itself, they own shares in the trust that is a custodial trust that actually buys the Hex and stakes it, and all they do is have to trade the shares in and out, just like you do, and similar to what you do in a unit trust, something like that, but a little different. It tweaks some difference. Now, Kinetics also said he's got some improvements over the Grayscale trust that buys Bitcoin to avoid some of the discounts that the trust runs at, or premium that runs at versus Bitcoin at different times. So he's got some improvements on that model as well. Then, of course, Funding Jim has been talking. He's the billionaire liaison. He's been talking to billionaires and bringing in big money potentially for 2022, and it looks absolutely awesome. He's doing an amazing job out there, and he just seems to have a good gift for that. And yeah, onwards and upwards to Funding Jim. Hats off. He is really a superstar in the community, just like Kinetics and Wales and all the rest of them that are doing all this extra works out there. And including, don't forget, all the Frontier stuff like the 555 tour, and they are doing amazing. They're in Miami right now, doing a wonderful, they've been doing a road trip. Looks like they're going to try and double the road trip. So if you haven't thought about donating to them, definitely get out there. I think I may have the link in the video description, and of course you could help double their tour, and of course that will onboard a whole ton of new users into the ecosystem. Very, very cool. Hats off to them as well. So nice. All right, so hopefully that's a big update of the Pulsechain timeline, and very cool. Let's go back to the sacrifice, and we're going to do an update here, and we're at 56.5. Where are we at the moment? 57.2. Woohoo! So we're just still climbing, folks. Looking really good there. And nice. And we're going to update the PulseX info to see whether that's updated yet. This is the DApp page. We're waiting. This is going to have, if you want to do Bitcoin and stuff like that, we're waiting for that to load up, because I know many of you out there want to do that. Hex is almost at $42 million. Woohoo! Nice. And Ethereum's almost at 10 million. USDC at almost at 5 million. And the others doing pretty well. Tether and DAI looking really nice. So cool. Let's get me into some of the chat there. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to move to the chart here. We're on the hourly. Let's go to the hourly here as well. Just while I look at some of the comments there, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Very, very cool experience as well. Now, I don't know if some of you were there for the Hex launch. That was exciting. The Pulsechain Sacrifice launch was exciting. It's been really fun. And now we've got a big payday was exciting. And of course, now there's the fourth big event that we've got. It is the PulseX Sacrifice. I mustn't forget, of course, the first year anniversary party and the second year anniversary party of Hex were also very, very cool. In fact, the first year party was a 24-hour live stream on Hexologist channel. So we've had 5 or 6 mega events, and this is probably the 6th one if you want to add in those 2 anniversaries as well. So very exciting to see this, and you guys are all a part of it, which is pretty cool. And Richard Hart is the kingmaker, the genius that knows how to make value. And that's counterintuitive to a way a lot of people think how you make value. So it's taking a lot of people to get their heads around that for sure. All right, so nice. Let's get into it. Sergio says estimated time of. We've got Shirley says hopefully before my 555 state ends here. Nice one there, Shirley. Yeah, that's true. And Dave West says would not be a concern with court suits. They'll just be left behind. Yeah, the delay, unfortunately, those court systems are so slow. I am glad they're doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it will take time to play out there. Yeah, they were served, says Shirley. Nicholas says, are you live again? Twice birthday? Hey, no, it's number 3, Nicholas, number 3. Good to see you in the chat there. Very, very cool. And Chris White says 38 cents Hex incoming. Yeah, so that's the next target, right? Because we had 33 cents to 38. We had to break that 32.5 cents. We were kind of stuck underneath there for a while. The announcement of PulseX has helped us bust that through that. So 33 to 38 cents. I have a feeling that we're going to attack that 38 cents. And if we do bust to 38 cents, then we have got all the way up to 43. Let's pull up the daily chart actually to look at that and see where our resistance is on that. So here's the daily. So definitely 38 is the measure. That's kind of our support here, which becomes resistance, right? So we've got that coming in, And so our 38 cents, this is where the target is here. And we've got to bust through that. Once we do that, of course, we've got this one here. 43 cents is the next one. Obviously, 40 cents is kind of a weak one because it's like a 10 one, but 43. So 38 and 43 is the way we want to go. And then, of course, our next resistance will be the 47, 48. And once we bust that, man, we're going to bust through the 50-cent mark. You bet your bottom dollar. So 38, 43, 48, and up and away. That's the way I see it. So no, actually not 48, 47. We just smashed 47, and then we're up and away. So we've got those three, the next targets. But I feel confident about 38. I think that we're going to have a good chance of attacking that as well. So it's going to be pretty cool to see that play out. So nice one there, Chris Wright, with you on that one. And Sergio says, will Richard accept sacrifice in BNB token? Yes, you can do BNB on the BSC chain. So feel free there, Serge. And Sky is in the house. PulseX end of sacrifice is February 25th. So Pulsechain isn't released before then. That's correct, yeah. D-Wave says 10,000 USDC sacrifice will lead to financial freedom. Man, 10,000 will blow your mind, really. Yeah, I absolutely agree. You do 100x on 10K, that's $1 million. So nice. Yeah, David West says, don't forget about the snapshot. There will be more opportunity. Yeah, so the snapshot's coming up, of course, the fork as well. Expect that as well. So that's got to be gained by Richard when he does the fork. It's very important that time. So the less we know about that, the better in some ways. Solix says $6.08 T-share. Yeah, that's the other big news. Of course, the T-share is getting really up there. To get a T-share, $6,000, I think it was, isn't it? So yeah, $6,000 a T-share. So yeah, that's for a B share, that's $6.08. Yeah, so $6.08 for a B share Solix. Nice. Sergio says, are we talking about how Pulse testnet 3 for sure? Yes, we are. Yeah. Snapshot of what? Of the Ethereum blockchain for when the system state copy happens. When they do system state copy of Ethereum to make Pulse chain, they take a block. They choose a block. At the moment on testnet, the block is this block here, 13,224,745. So if you had balances on there on Ethereum, they'd also be showing up on the Pulse chain as well. That's what we're talking about. So that fork, everyone wants to be in that fork because that's where you get your airdrop from, is that block. And of course, once we split off, imagine block, Ethereum block, and then you split that off at one block, and then the new blocks on Ethereum, on Pulsechain, Ethereum starts splitting off like a two-headed, they go off in different directions. So that's kind of how that works. A block on a blockchain is a whole ton of blocks on a blockchain, and the block has transactions, all the transactions that happen in each block, and of course the validators on the Pulsechain will verify those blocks, and they all verify together, and they have to agree. So when we had the testnet 2.0, there was some where the blocks weren't confirming the same blocks or making their own blocks. So it's got a little bit of issues around that. That's what they had to fix up. So Lassia says, when PulseX SAC is on. Yeah, it is on, Lassia. And Nicholas says, please, when next Axion stream? They are mind-blowing news and price to react to a bit today. Team is focused on price exposure from now all time. Hey, so Nicholas, I did do one of those earlier this evening. So it looks like you missed that. Go check the channel there as well. As you know, I stream on multiple crypto channels. And of course, I am a Hex OG. So that's why I love Hex, and so that's why I'm doing Hex. David West says Pulse. Yeah, Pulse, that's right. Serge says, okay, you estimate is end of March, mine at least 4 to 5 mil a month, says Serge. Hey, let's hope not, Serge. That would be not great in my opinion as well. Solix says, so mainnet cannot be before 25th of February, but I understand because of the sacrifice phase. Yes, that's right. David West says, sac for Pulse X is 47 days. It's actually longer than 47 days. The 47 days is from the 10th through to the 25th, but we already started back here, so it's actually longer than that. So yeah, you just add on 31 days for January and 25 days for February. You've already got 56 days, so 57, 58 days in total. That's the case there. So. Cheers, Dave. Serge says, are we all PLS billionaires and PLX millionaires? Hey, I think so, Serge. I think so. That's probably the case. Solix says, I am on Pulse and PulseX OG now. Hey, nice, Solix. That's a really cool position to be in. Once again, I think a good strategy, if you're confused about what to do, is, and if you've had a chance to do PulseX sacrifice, Pulsechain sacrifice, is just you want to get a bit of everything that Richard does, because it turns to gold, I think. Obviously, Hex is the only working product at the moment. So ETH on Hex on ETH is the one that's pretty much had the best chart in crypto history for the 2020 and most of 2021. Obviously had a pullback now, but you can see it's starting to push back up here as well. So these sacrifices also take a lot of Hex off the market, and we know we've got some big buyers coming into the space for 2022. It looks pretty amazing. Staking supply is pretty much 2nd of January. It looks like we've really watered through a lot of that. It'll be interesting to see what the circulating supply. We've got a few questions to ask in the say first week of January, but I think that everything is looking, supply looks like it's just evaporating up, demand looks like it's coming in, and 2022 looks like it's going to be a mind-blowing year as well. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get some XOGs decide to sell down, maybe rationally or what you might call irrationally, but that is the case. You know, that's we're going to watch that out, but definitely the main metrics are looking pretty good. John Carrier says, woohoo, you're our diamond, mate. It only goes up when you're on. Hey, John, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. So I better not get, I'm only going to go on live stream when the price is moving up. How about that? That's a good one. That's a good trick. All right, thanks, John. I appreciate that. Nicholas says, how many channels do you have? I got about crypto channels. I've got about 6 crypto channels. I've got 3 relatively big ones and 3 kind of small ones at the moment. I run the second biggest. I run the probably the biggest Betfury crypto casino channel outside the official channel. But I think I may be, yeah, it's probably not as big as the official channel, but yeah, that's kind of one. But that's more fun, just fun for me for that. So cool. And Seth says, would be good if Richard this time will not sacrifice. PLX would go faster than PLS when it opens. Yeah, that's true. And Mike says, thanks for another live stream. Mike, hey, Mike, a pleasure. I really love it. Hope you guys are having a good time. I'm having a good time. And hey, it's a day before Christmas, New Year's Eve, I should say, not Christmas Eve, day before New Year's Eve. It is pretty fun to do as well. So I'm enjoying myself. Nice. And next volume says, good morning. Where can I find detailed info to create a coin on the Pulse network? I'm not sure actually. So I think there's a dev channel on Telegram, and maybe get into Pulsechain chat there on Telegram, and then you might be able to get that. So if you're on Pulsechain, go check that out as well. So Pulsechain Telegram, I think there's a dev channel, so you might be able to get involved with that next volume. It's probably the best place to start. I'm not a developer myself. I'm familiar with basic software code like Visual Basic and stuff, but not much more than that. Jack says, would it be foolish to sacrifice a small amount? I have 3 different wallets and $50 on each: Celsius, Hex, and Link. Hey, no. So some people might do that strategy if they're wanting to also to try and get Genesis airdrops, where if you've got a Genesis wallet, you may get projects doing airdrops onto Genesis wallets. That may happen. So that's a possibility. Obviously, with $150 or so, or $50, you're not going to get much in a volume multiplier. So you might as well, you could just recently, your better bets just to do sacrifice from a couple of addresses and have maybe 3 Genesis accounts. And if you're lucky enough to get some airdrops for those in the future, then that could be quite a big ROI return. Now, obviously, Hexkins, they got some big, massive airdrops from the early days. They got Unicoin, 1 inch, and at least 2 or 3 other airdrops as well. And they were all big. They were all very valuable airdrops. So most of them got converted into Hex, I think, as well. So cool, Jack. Hope that helps. Nicholas says, oh, gee, was it Mina's original gangster? Yeah, that's true. All right, so I'm going to go back to this chart. It's probably a bit easier to look at there. And Tina says, choice, bro. Hey, Tina in Perth. Hey, good to see you, Tina in Perth. And I remember you from, I think it was yesterday or the last live stream. One of the live streams we had recently. Serge says, please have a good chance to be listed on Coinbase if everything goes smoothly when mainnet goes live. Hey, Serge, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So when Pulsechain happened back in July, and we can see that on our roadmap. So if we scroll this back, this blue line, this is when we had Pulsechain sacrifice in here, the 15th through to the 3rd of August. And of course, now we've got the PulseX sacrifice on there. You can see the difference. Of course, the mercy period was this dotted line. Don't know why my blue line's gone crooked there. It used to be pretty straight, but it's probably because I played around with this chart so much. So there. All right. So we had, actually, I'll put that over there. That's probably better. So yeah, back here, we had the Sense Foundation got sacrificed for the charity, and of course Richard helped raise $27 million for that through sacrifices, and they were selling all their tokens that weren't US dollars into US dollars on Coinbase, and of course Coinbase is well aware of all that happening, I believe. So that's pretty positive, and that's why I feel that obviously we got indirectly listed through them with the how to buy Hex guide. And I think that they've got a reasonable chance of getting listed on Coinbase. Now that's huge because that's, as I understand it, that's pretty much the biggest US buyer for crypto. All the people, retail market, go on there to buy, and so that's pretty huge. Now, obviously, Coinbase is one of the big drivers of Shiba Inu and other tokens like that. So it does create a lot of value. I think Dogecoin possibly as well. So I think that I think that's could be the first big exchange. That obviously the X is on some okay exchanges, but they're pretty awesome. Of course, most of us are in favor of decentralized solutions because of wash trading and other things that go on and centralized stuff, potential hacks and or actual hacks and stuff like that. But I think it's good news generally just to get on Coinbase, to get on one big exchange. I think that'd be really positive. And I think Coinbase is the most likely one, especially after the Sense Foundation sacrifice. But that's a really good point you raised up, so I'm pretty excited about that. Nice. All right, so where are we up to here? Tina in Perth. I'm actually a Kiwi, but live in Perth. Nice one. Hey, I'm a Kiwi too, but I don't live in Perth. But if I was to live in Australia, I'd probably live in Brisbane, and then maybe I haven't seen a lot of other places around, but Brisbane, maybe Adelaide, maybe. But Brisbane seemed like real tropical, and I only went to a cafe there once, but I thought the cafe was amazing with all the trees around and tropical. It was pretty cool. But hey, there again, I'm scared of spiders and snakes and the giant spiders, the snakes, and what's the other one? Tarantulas, is it? Tarantulas, something like that. Nicholas says, David says probably won't be worth it unless you catch low gas fees. Jack. And Nicholas says, which is your background, mate? How long have you been in crypto? I've been in crypto for quite a few years now. My background is in economics and strategy. That's my background. And Alan Ali says Sunday is the best day to get low gas fees. Absolutely. It is between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. UTC time, typically the best. But hey, when the market's falling, the prices do decrease, activity decreases, and the gas fees will go down. So we don't want to move into a bear market. I'm sure we're all that, but definitely we're having a correction on it at the moment amongst crypto generally. Serge says you can be football commentator on TV. Yeah, sorry about that. I just like to give the information out as clearly as possible because, or as much as possible because, and that does make you sound a bit like a footballer. But of course, the down under accents can be a bit like that too. So that's a bit funny. Mike says, is there a bonus volume multiplier? Yes, there is. You think whales will dump like last time to get the bonus and maybe buy a few days before the snap notch to get double? I think that's less likely than last time, but it's still very possible. Mike, is the way I'd put it. I think it's less likely, but still very possible. It depends what their appetite is. I know their appetite's huge for Pulsechain. Richard already said that he's been talking to billionaires, and he said they had an appetite for Pulsechain, if you remember. And of course, the last one we talked to, I believe, was in Singapore, or one of the last ones in Singapore. We know that Funding Jim is talking to billionaires, and he's at least got half a dozen in play. And of course, once a billionaire goes in investment, they tell their friends. They all have those big rich dinners. They bring their friends over, jump around the pool, and do the rest of what billionaires do. Go on to super yachts, whatever, fly their jets. You know how it works. And the billionaires, we see it on TV. So they're doing their thing, right? They're not all like that, of course. Some of them are quite, Warren Buffett, for example, doesn't do stuff like that. But that's the sort of stuff that they tell one person, they tell another person. Before you know it, it's really starting to open up, and you can see that in Hex, and it's happening in Hex, and where it's not happening in other places, it's happening in Pulsechain, where it's not happening in other projects. And so you've got this stuff opening up here that we're seeing happen. Of course, it looks pretty promising, to be honest. Very nice. All right, so I think I got up to that one. What does it say? You think whales? Yes, I think it's time to say. Hey, Trevor Riley, super sticker, very cool. Appreciate that. Thanks for the consistent updates, Trevor. Says, hey, big shout out to you, Trevor. Do appreciate the super stickers, super chats. Very, very cool. It's just a fun part of being a YouTuber. It means you're doing a decent job. So do appreciate that, Trevor. Nicholas Luciana says, I got your Axiom video today. Big cheers. We'll watch as soon as possible. Hey, no problem, Nicholas. Very, very cool. All right. So Ellen Lee says, respect from Ireland. Hey, I like Ireland. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. It's one of my passions to go there. Hopefully I'll get there one day. Alan, I really do look that. Very cool. I've probably got a little bit of Irish heritage in the back family as well. I think it's kind of English, Irish, Scottish. It's kind of a mix there, and also some French in it, which is probably, and German. So it's probably those five, which is probably pretty common heritage, I guess, in the West somewhere. Rune Sky says, mate, why not Sydney? Sydney's too big. I don't like it. It just seems too big. That concrete jungle and stuff like that. But hey, I've only been to Sydney once. I was in probably not the best part of town, but there's probably other nicer places in Sydney that are pretty neat. So that's probably why. Hungarian says, Hexon says, Darwin is the place to be in Oz. Yeah, well, I haven't been to Darwin, so I can't comment on that, but I'll definitely take that under advisement. Like I say, I've been to Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, and Adelaide. So that's it. So they're still missing out a lot of cities and a lot of cool places. I think the best thing about Australia is the beach community and lifestyle. I can imagine if I grew up as a surf lifesaver, something like doing that, I would have loved that. A surfer, that's the kind of lifestyle I would really like. But we'll still being able to visit the city, go to the cafes and all the highlight, get that nice balance. I like that for sure. Rune Sky says, mate, the commentary works out perfectly for streaming. There's zero silence in your streams. Hey, Rune Skies, appreciate that. It's a big shout out to Rune Skies. I would super chat you for that, Rune Skies, but can't do that. Serge says you need to sacrifice over 10K to get a bonus 10%. With 3K is like 4%. That's right. That's what I understand it too, Sergio. So you might get a factor of 1.1 if you do like 10K. That was what's similar to Pulsechain one. Of course, we've gone through that on the live stream. If you want to check some videos back, we've looked at the spreadsheets for that, and you can actually get the links in the video descriptions to see what we got in the Pulsechain sacrifice approximately. RuneSky says, you're a legend, never change, eh? I try not to. I appreciate the RuneSkies. And Dave West says, you can catch 30 Gwei on Sundays, but for tax year purposes, you want to sacrifice before 2022. Yeah, so in some places that will be the case about the sacrifice rules. It just depends on your jurisdiction and your understanding of tax rules, but definitely that's the case. So yeah, the 31st is taxation. That's why we might see some market selling down now, and we may have a New Year rally rather than a Christmas rally or a New Year's Eve rally. We might have a New Year's rally on the other side once it happens there. So that's promising. Actually, let me get out of here. I'm going to see what is Ethereum at the moment, $3,700 for Ethereum, and the Gwei is 99 Gwei at the moment. And of course, it's Wednesday, Thursday. I guess it's mostly Thursday around the world now. It's 10:50 in the evening here. So there are $3,710 for Ethereum. So it's quite a pullback. It's probably about $1,000, $1,100 from its high. So yeah, that's pretty decent now. Breaking that 4,000 was a big deal when it break through that, and yeah, so we might see obviously profit taking for the end of year period, particularly in the northern hemisphere. Some places have the end of March as taxation time. Some have the end of June. Sometimes they have combinations of that, and of course some places have the end of the year, which may be, I think maybe America might be like that. So cool. All right, so Squids Only says it's a prison now. Australia, yeah, Australia and New Zealand are prisons, and I would say it's almost I would add in Canada and a few other places. Squids Only, it's not great. I'm not a big fan at all. There's a big play on power play. I don't want to get too much into it because it's a crypto channel, but I'm with you on that one. Squids Only, it's not good at all. Red Sky says concrete jungle, haha. Nah, mate, beautiful place in Sydney for sure. Sydney beaches and Blue Mountains, we've got everything here for you. Yeah, like I say, I haven't been to a lot of it. I've only if you understood my experience, then you realize I really didn't have a chance to see a lot of it. Just where I was like a concrete jungle. Suburbs wasn't that nice. So that's kind of my experience, but I'm open-minded. So that's the way. Sinister's finished. Says Squids, get out. Nice one. All right, let's not talk too much about other places. And Squid says the global cyclist in charge. Yeah, that's about right there, Squids. Emily says, how much do you think PX will start out before the bridge? Guesses. So I'm expecting it to be pretty similar to EHEX to start off, but I expect the ratios will be pretty similar. I think they might start flipping not long afterwards, but definitely for retail investors, it makes a lot more sense. But without a bridge, it's really I can't see a lot of reason why it would separate too much from EHEX. We'll find out about that, Molly. It's a good question. Squids Only says, no job, but I've got Hex, says Squid Only. Hey, that's all you need. That's all you need. I'm going to say this. It's all you need, baby. That's all you need. Something like that. That's pretty cool. Squids Only. Nice one. I got no job at Hex. It's kind of the quote of the day. Very cool. All right. So, yeah, special thanks out to Trevor Riley for the super sticker. To appreciate. Thanks for the consistent updates. Yeah. Onwards and upwards for that. We're going to keep those up for sure. Nice. All right, so let's quickly go back and see how we're doing. We're doing hour 23, going pretty nicely here. Let me just see out with 10:53. I guess we might get a syndicate live stream soon or not. I'm not sure, but coming up pretty nicely here. Let's go through and check Richard Hart, see if he's given us any updates. We're going to check out the sacrifice amounts, see if those are increased, and we'll come back to the price. The price is looking pretty good, just under 35 cents. And let's have a look. So we had this cool video. I actually kind of like this video. It's got a soundtrack to it. I'm just going to take a copy of this. And if you want to watch this video with the soundtrack, definitely pull that out. That's the way it goes. So nice. PHEX will always be bigger in value than EHEX, says Sergio. Yeah, I do believe over time, but yeah, just not so sure initially, given without the bridge in play is my thought. So we'll see about that. So that's the video there if you want to check that out. Don't forget the sacrifice address for Ethereum is OX075, ends in DDC8, and you can just transfer from there at the moment. The higher the value, US dollar value is what you want to get. Whenever you go in, that's what you're going to. If you're going to do stable coins, then it doesn't matter. You can go in any time, preferably get in before the 10,001 rate goes. On the other hand, of course, if you're holding a token that's goes up and down with the US dollar, or US dollar value changes, I should say, like X, then obviously the higher the value the Hex is, the higher US dollar amount you'll get, and that would be very cool. Also, the US dollar amount, then with the volume multiplier on top of the base amount, it ranks you as well. So that determines whether you get between 1 and 2.5 times your base amount that you got, which is 10,000 points for $1 in the first 11 days. So take that into account. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's go to Pulse. Pulse, we're going to update this 57.2 million. I think this was, I think I have to update that to get the latest. Let's go. So 57.2, 57.7 at the moment. So climbing pretty well. I think we're about 11 hours in, almost half a day coming up. And these are pretty awesome results. This is just on the Ethereum chain so far. Rest of the chains haven't even opened up for sacrifice yet. It's just Tron and Ethereum, but Ethereum's the main one, of course. We should expect possibly some decent stuff from Bitcoin, BSV, and other stuff. So looking forward to that. So $42.2 million of Hex so far. Ethereum 8.4 million US dollar, almost 5 million. Tether 1.2, and so on. So you can sacrifice all these Shiba Inu, Chainlink, Uni, Rapdeth, TrueUSD, Maker, all that sort of stuff is in here. BAT, cool, Aave, Celsius Compound, Binance USD 1 inch. So you can do that now. Obviously, you can do it on Polygon, which is a fork of, a second layer of Ethereum. You can also do it on Binance Smart Chain, which is a fork of Ethereum as well. So you can send it to the same address as well. So that's pretty cool. We're going to update Pulse info. This will be, once this is activated, you'll be able to do the BTC and other chains that will be available. It will give you, you'll probably have to connect to it, and then it will give you the wallet address. Is the way I imagine that happening. We'll find that out. This is going to be the DApp, of course, and then you'll be able to sacrifice that. Very cool. This is all based on Pulsechain sacrifice, and of course that's going to be pretty much the same as the PulseX. So this is Ethereum, all the tokens that you sacrifice. It's the first page. This is the second page here. You can stop the video for that. And there is the third page here. And of course, that's pretty cool. Here is the Polygon, of course. You can sacrifice on the Polygon. That's the second layer of Ethereum. So you can use the same sacrifice address, which is this one at the top. It's pinned to Richard Hart's Twitter, OX07 and DDC8. So that's pretty cool. And we're up to that. Yeah, cool. And then we've got Tron. You can sacrifice the Tron, TRX, and obviously there's stable coins as well. Looking good. All right, so bam, let's jump onto the actual blockchain. There's the Ethereum sacrifices. You can see it's all the same address on Ethereum. You can see it's all the same address on the Binance Smart Chain. And you can also see it's also the same address on a Polygon scan. You're sacrificing to the same address. They're just on different chains. But because they're all based off Ethereum, you can sacrifice to them. So very nice. Let's have a look, refresh this on the Ethereum chain. And oh, it's almost up to 60 million up here, it says. So nice. And 125,704,437 Hex has been sacrificed. Woohoo! Now I'd love this to get up to half a billion or so or more. That would be such a beautiful thing. Looking forward to that. That would soap up a lot of the circulating supply that's come into place as well. So nice. It might get us down towards that 4% or better even in circulating supply. So looking forward to that. Now, coming up so that's coming up. I'm going to talk about another topic there quickly. Then we've got the Binance Smart Chain. Let's update that. We're at 9.9 million. Are we going to get 10 million? Yes, 10.1 million. Woohoo! On the Binance Smart Chain. Nice on that. Very, very cool. But however, it includes this Exnon, looks like a scam coin. So we're actually not at 10 million, but it's updated. So the top one there, BNB is at 397,000. The BUSD is at 926,000. So you can delete this one off here, in my view. And we've got these real tokens being sacrificed, so they're pretty nice. So if you're on Binance Smart Chain, you can do BNB, you can do BUSD on the Binance Smart Chain, sending it to the same address here. OX07 DDC, and of course BSUSD, USDC, ETH, Cake is popular, and Matic as well, and there's a lot of other smaller tokens there for some reason. So make sure you keep to the better ones there. So nice. Here's the Polygon one. We had 123,000, and let's have a look, see where we're at now on this. 126, so another 3,000 or more on a Polygon scan. Nice. Very, very cool. And the main ones there, Matic, Hex, of course. There's 6.9 million Hex on Polygon. And of course, I think there was 4 trading pairs. It's definitely one that I've seen lately, but I thought there was 4. So definitely happening there. And now, typically, it can run at a discount or premium to Hex on Ethereum. So it's been an interesting one. I've definitely bought and sold on that one as well. USDC, Tether, Wrapped ETH, and DAI on there. Quick swap, Wrapped Bitcoin. There's just a little bit amounts here, so nice. Not much Matic though, so not Wrapped Matic. Matic should be lots of that, but there's not much of that. But anyway, all right. So let's jump over to the Staker app. Once again, if you want to sacrifice not via MetaMask or something, but sacrifice through Staker app, watch Hodl Dog's video. I've got the link in the video description, and you can read that. And you can he shows you how to sacrifice using a Treasure and Ledger using MetaMask. Also shows you how to sacrifice through the Staker app. So he's wonderful at these tutorials. So definitely check out Hodl Dog on that one. Big shout out. Nice. Now, obviously, we are moving forward into the future. Here we are, folks. We're about to cross over the end of the year. Another day to go, and the price is looking stellar here, around that 35-cent mark. It's going to be fascinating to watch this go as we move forward into that timeline. This is what we're expecting at the moment. This is based on full information that I'm aware of, and yeah, just updated completely to just before the live stream. So looking very cool. All right, nice. So this is a base amount, of course. First 11 days, $10,000 per 10,000 PulseX coins per dollar that you sacrifice. Then after from the 10th onwards up through to the 25th, it increases by 1.05% per day, and it compounds, and that's for 47 days. The whole period runs for about 58 days, and the volume bonus at the bottom. This is if you're in the volume bonus, so this is based on how much USD you sacrifice. This will be between 1 and 2.5. Obviously, the big whales will get 2.5. The small fish at the bottom will get 1. And of course, 1 times your base amount is still 10,000 points. So if you're at the very bottom, it will be probably just a fraction over 1. But you get my point. That's okay. So if you do about $10,000, maybe we're currently basing that off Pulsechain sacrifice, then you might get a 1.1 multiplier by $10,000 times points. So times what's that, 100 million. You might get 100 million PulseX tokens times a 1.1. You might get 110 million Pulse tokens. Is kind of the way we're looking at that. Now, the total supply, of course, is PulseX is based on the 10,000 tokens to 1, and of course that's going to be the public sacrifice. And of course, we'll probably expect the Origin wallet to come in and maybe get a sacrifice for 85%. So we're waiting to see that happen. It may happen just after the 10 days, or it may happen at the end of the period if it does happen. So we are expecting it to happen more likely than not, because that's the way Richard likes to control the value mechanisms and rewards in the system by that concentrated ownership. And he talks about that all the time in his videos. He also talks about circulating supply, getting circulating supply to get that value up. And of course, these sacrifices have helped a lot with those So very cool. All right, so that's what we're looking at the moment. Obviously, after this volume bonus period ends on the 20th, from the 21st to 25th, you won't no longer be able to participate in the volume multiplier bonus. You will then only get a 1.75 on that. So that's the way that works. So cool. All right, so nice on that. Let's get into the comments. I'm going to go back to the price here. We'll full screen that. And man, that chart's looking juicy, yeah? Looking juicy. Is that the right word? I don't know. Molly says, I think PLS and PLX will do a 10x right out of the gate of mainnet launch, cause the massive amount of months people have been waiting since July. Hey, Molly, I think you're going to be pretty safe with that one, in my view. Molly says 8 months waiting for, by the beginning of March. Yeah, that's right. And it was about a year for Hex. Before Hex launched, it was about a year. You know, it's software takes a long time, and just the way it is. But if you think about it, a good point you're making there, Molly, about the 8 months, is that you get pent up demand, skewing up. And Rich is aware of that. Rich is aware, even with those software takes longer than you expected. He's also aware that one of the benefits can be pent up demands builds up. Because people expected it maybe a month after the sacrifice, but it takes another 7-8 months or whatever. So yeah, good point. SE says, Jimbo, hey Jimbo, good to see you. And Skylar says, I hope Pulsechain gets a stable coin fast. It will be a negative if people need to leave the chain to add to their stables. Yeah, so that's the other thing, is that obviously the keys for USDC, USDT, we're going to see what happens to those. And of course, DAI apparently doesn't have those, as far as I know. So that looks like reason why that a lot of the ETH being switched into DAI there on the ETH chain. So we'll go back to that. Actually, it's a good point. So we might go back into the ETH contract on Etherscan, and that's the sacrifice address to this. And I think we've got. Let's go to the total transactions. And I think we might have a transaction in here. Let's go back in time. We have it out here. We have 22 ETH out here is the last one 25 minutes ago. Let's see what this went and did. Yeah, so the ETH is getting turned into DAI tokens, and that's interesting because I think on Pulsechain there was about 200-300 million of stables, and I think a lot of the ETH got turned into USDC, I think it was, and maybe USDT, but we're pretty sure it was USDC at the time. I think Richard's view may have changed on that a bit with the tokens and with Pulsechain coming up, so he's moved into DAI. As probably looks to be, because I don't think they have the keys for that. So interesting there. Very cool. Let me go back into there. Bam. All right. So Dave West says there will be a Pulse stablecoin. Yeah. So Rich is also talking about doing his own stable, as I understand it. So we'll look to see it whether that comes into play as well. Liquid Loans will have a stablecoin. That's true. The Liquid Loans will, but they are launching after their audit. Yeah. So they were launching after the audit. They're also looking at doing a sacrifice phase. Apparently, that's looking to start mid-January. Is when I watched a bit of a live stream. I need to do more. Watch a bit more of them, but that's the case. They're doing lots of YouTube videos, that's for sure. Why sacrifice before end of the year for tax purposes? Is it a write-off? So people can do their losses, I guess. Can I take their profit, do their losses? Can I sacrifice Bitcoin? If yes, how? Yes, you can, Paul, but not yet. You have to wait for the PulseX info dApp to be up and running. So at the moment, it's just the ETH chain and the Tron chain. And obviously, ETH is, you can use the ETH address for multi-chains, for BSC, anything that's built off the ETH, a copy of the ETH chain, like Polygon or BSC, you can do that. But Bitcoin's on its own chain, of course, so you have to wait for the dApp to come up. Then you'll be able to connect to that dApp and then select the BTC, and it will give you an address to sacrifice to. But you must do it from your own wallet that you control the seeds from. So just take that into account. Skylarge says, is it a write-off of a tax or just count as a loss? And the political statement says Skylarge, and yeah, not sure. You need to get some professional advice on that, Skylarge, on the tax side. Hey from Fiji. Hey, Andrew Foster, Fiji. A big shout out to you. And yeah, Fiji, a beautiful place. If you haven't got a holiday, Fiji is a place you want a relatively beautiful place, quiet place. Fiji, definitely. So, at school, I grew up with a lot of Fijian boys. So yeah, big shout out there. Nice. All right. So how are we doing for time? Now in 37. We're doing pretty good, folks. And don't forget, if you're new to this channel, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you're watching after the live stream, put your comments in there. I do respond to all of them, of course. And big shout out to Hex Token channel members. Appreciate your support out there too. And I think we've got John in the house today. Good to see John there as one of the Hex Token members. All right. So let's refresh this. 58 million is what we're at the moment. Looking good. And I think we were at, let me have a look at this, 12 hours now. Half a day, folks, half a day. And we are half a day being launched. And look, we're up to 58 million. That's a pretty good day in the office, if you ask me. And so we're going to look forward to seeing that as well. And we're going to see whether some of the big players come out as well. With if they've done their thinking around the value of the yield farming and the deflationary token side. And of course, the way it's the AMM bot's going to harvest all the tokens, then we might reasonably expect some big players to come into this sacrifice. Certainly going to be something to watch out for. Now, I also did a video the other day saying that we could potentially get, at the current market market level, we could get maybe upwards of $400 or $500 million buys per year. That'd be pretty amazing. That's not net buys, but there's net buys. It's kind of deflationary buys. So yeah, that would be pretty massive. I'm trying to think, confusing myself there quickly for the yield farming, but we could get that net buying off there. Would be amazing. Yeah, it looks pretty promising. Because the AMM bot's going to pretty much create pretty much billions of dollars of liquidity. Then the market's just going to dive into it. It's going to be fascinating, and I think we're going to get a lot of people flocking on after the yield farming incentive token into it. So you're going to see a massive injection. Getting that bridge open is pretty important. But I think even without the bridge, the system's going to do some pretty awesome financial turnover anyway, just with the value that's on it. Yeah, definitely getting that bridge in 2 days later would be epic. On bringing the Ethereum and ERC20s in, getting the fiat gateway as well. Don't forget, with the credit cards potentially, that's another source of. Think of it like you've got your system here. You've got your bridge coming in from Ethereum, another system here, Ethereum bridging over. Then you're going to have third-party bridges bridging over stuff into Pulsechain. So you can have all these bridges coming into the Pulsechain network, and it won't just be the one that Ruth's setting up, I gather. There'll be a lot of other people who will just set up their bridges into it. It's going to be pretty awesome. There's lots of bridges out there already working on other chains. They can quickly move that in because it's based on ETH code into the Pulsechain. And of course, you're also going to get the fiat gateways in there, bring money from the fiat world into the crypto. So it's going to be pretty cool. Firstly, credit card, but other alternatives. It looks like there's at least two. Richard's one's talked about it, and possibly pretty much sure the Kinetics one's different. So that could be another one there. And no doubt some other players will try and get into that as well. It's going to be pretty epic. Some of the big whales that sacrifice, I think they're going to be pretty huge around the Pulsechain. They see how well Ethereum's made a lot of people rich, and they're just looking at Pulsechain in the same way. That's why we've got such big sacrifices in there, including the Hex God whale, who was obviously one of the big Ethereum holders of ETH. So it's going to be pretty fascinating to see that play out for sure. Molly S says, like and subscribe, turn on the bell notification, guys. This guy always gives out important info consistently. Hey, Molly, appreciate that. And Aspire's in the house. Hey, good. I was just talking about Hex Token members, and Aspire jumps in there. Very cool with the rockets. I love it. And nice to see Aspire in there. Let me just go. I'm going to pull up the actual lead there. I want to see those rockets play out. Let me have a look here. It's a nice, let me jump over there. Yeah, cool. Where's that? Back up here. So nice. Trying to see that. So nice there. All right. I've got to say the word nice. Sometimes you say it too much. All right. So Mr. Dolo says, great half day in the office. Yeah, great half day in the office. And that's one of my catchphrases there, Mr. Dolo. Yeah, great. I always say a day in the office. Nice one. A nice day in the office. Yeah. Serge says 17 million USDC total sacrifice without Hex. Nice one, Serge. I appreciate that. Now I follow what you're saying. I got my wires crossed earlier, so I apologize for that. Learn Crypto TV says, watching from Roswell, New Mexico. And Learn TV, I fall for that Roswell stuff. I love it. So a big shout out to Learn Crypto. Victor Magno's in house. Thanks for sharing all this information. Will PulseX will launch at the same time as Pulsechain, right? That's correct. So come back to the timetable. Got them both launching together. obviously PulseX launches on Pulsechain, and you think of it like killer apps. You know, you're always saying, "What's my killer app? I got this platform. What's my killer app? What's the people going to love?" Of course, yield farming is fundamental. So what do you do on Pulsechain is like the Ethereum chain. PulseX is like Uniswap, and of course they go together. And of course, what do you use the chain for? You use it for transferring tokens from one person to another to trade. In that sense, you're swapping them over. Maybe I want to send you something, you send me something. You also use it for smart contracts. And of course, you can set up all sorts of financial products with and platforms with smart contracts. And then, of course, you've got maybe I don't want to just trade it or do smart contracts. Maybe I want to swap. I want to swap and trade. And so you need PulseX for that to swap and trade. And of course, that first in PulseX, you have to set up pools. Of course, the AMM bot's going to harvest stuff and put those into the pools as well, and then create all that value out of nothing. Money just gets created out of nothing in crypto, but it happens time and time again. You see billion-dollar enterprises just get made on the chains. And we've had a lot of chains come up. We've had a lot of DEXs get valued up in crypto. They all get valued up, so pretty exciting. Bridges get valued up. Yield farming gets valued up. NFTs get valued up. You see what I mean? It all gets valued up. So pretty important environment. So that's the killer app. Obviously, Hex is also a killer app. Hex has shown itself to be one of the pretty much the best performing chart 2020 for sure, most of 2021, and I'm sure it's going to take that spot back if it's not pretty close to it soon. We're already back up to 35 cents, and I can next 2022 is going to be mind-blowing for that. I think you're looking at multiple dollars, and let's talk about dollars, maybe somewhere between $5 and $15, somewhere like that. Let's just keep that as a ballpark at this stage. You need the economic energy to make that happen, but I do believe that it's coming in through the Hex scale, through the billionaires that especially Fun and Jim and other people talking about. That's how you get that money in, through the public trust that potentially launched through Kinetics, Hex scale, and then of course getting that on. So that's where all the economic energy comes in, plus the retail going viral. Getting that virality in 2022, which looks like it's going to happen. And Pulsechain is going to help with that, of course, massively. And so is PulseX, all going to help. So it's all going to feed itself into some perfect, ultimate utopia environment that's got the best tokenomics in the world. And with the market growth to match it. So you still need a big audience to match with that ideal product with a good market fit. So that's looking exciting. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into that. I think it's pretty massive, actually. Aspire says, do you think DCA is a great way to sacrifice? Well, I'm kind of thinking earlier is better, Aspire. Like the first couple of days is probably best. You can speculate on the price of Hex going up, was the case. I also think that Hex price might go up in maybe a week after the staking's finished, because the staking's pretty much finished on the 2nd of December, and then you could see the lack of supply around, especially for the sacrifice going on. That actually might help, and if buyers come in, that could help quite a bit. But I don't think Hex scales are going to be up and running by the time, but we could see buying start coming in around the 7th. So that's my only difference to that. So I think a week after the end of the year, we could see some real move up in prices there. That's my only hesitation. That's a scenario, I'd call that, and I think that's definitely a play. I do talk about that a lot in the daily videos, so we'll see if that happens this far. So DCA might work to a point. I think that I know that Alex likes that sort of idea, but I think that if you get maybe, I don't know, maybe you got to get it before the end of the day 9. So if the market does rise up in price day 7, day 8, day 9, you could benefit from that. That's probably a scenario, but it's not a given, right? So just take that into account. David West says PulseX won't come out in 2021. So the value is 0, and when the value is whatever it will be in 22, you pay tax on your asset price. That's pretty much true. Like you said, it just depends on the tax environment that you're in. Wian says, just sacrifice. Thanks for the content. Love watching videos. Hey, Wian, all the best for that. Congratulations on the sacrifice. And I know that it's going to be super awesome 2022 for you and the rest of us. So big shout out. Victor Magno says, when is the launch estimated date? Well, my current launch estimated date is early March at the moment. And of course, we know that the sacrifice is finishing on the 25th. So the earliest date at the moment is March. Based on that, but I think that there'll be at least a week because Richard has to game the launch as well. So whenever he does the fork is another thing. that we've got to wait for. So also will depend on when Pulsechain testnet 3.0 comes out. So the fork could be earlier, but it could be in that gap as well. So we've got to wait for when the fork is going to be. He doesn't want to let the market know too much about that, because otherwise the market games it, and we don't want the liquidity being pulled as either. So out of any particular pairs that we're going to harvest with the AMM bot. So Richard will probably do that, just the way he launched PulseX on Twitter, as opposed to the D app coming out. So I think that's probably the case. Surge shares, if succeed liquid token loan will have huge impact on Pulse price. I believe so too, with the leverage on liquid loans. Once again, it's not a Richard Hart project, but I think the concept behind it is very, very good. And I'm still studying that a bit more. But obviously, if you being able to stake your token, especially for tax purposes, you can write off the interest costs and stuff like that potentially. And of course, the leverage that it has, and it's going to have its stable coin and stuff like it's got its own little circle. But once again, that's the way I look at it. If I'm going to make big X returns in Richard Hart's projects, why do I go to a third-party app? I have to say that. So then I have to say, well, if that's the case, I'm going to put in so much into this, and then I'll risk going into that, because obviously you need the contracts audited. You need to make sure there's no backdoor in the contract. Right, that's the number one thing. No backdoor in the contract. So that's what hopefully the auditors will tell you. If you're happy with that, then I think it's reasonably good to go in. And of course, you can utilize the full leverage ability that it will give you by locking your tokens in there. But remember, once they're in the contract, they're not in your pocket exactly. So you really want that audit to be really good. Probably the way I put that. All right, Tina in Perth says, I feel like this will be a world record sacrifice for crypto as far as the dollar figure goes. Does anyone know the record? Well, let's go back to the sacrifice while we're here, and we're going to update that. 58.1 just on each side. We're up to now 58.9. Woohoo! And I think we're still in the 12th hour, so I don't think we've ticked over that yet. Still 12 hours there on Richard Hart's tweet, and 11:20 AM. Was 11:02. Oh no, so we're just in the 13th hour now. Just started the 13th hour, so we're about 17 minutes into the 13th hour, so we just crossed over there, but we're doing pretty well. 58.9, nice. 42.6 million, very cool. Let's have a look at the ETH amount as well. We're going to open that up, and looking good. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share as well. Definitely get in there to appreciate that. And special thanks to the Hex Token channel members. Appreciate your support there. Very, very cool. We've got 2 in the chat at the moment, which is pretty cool. Aspire and John. So a big shout out to both of you as well. All right, so we've got 126 million Hex sacrificed so far. Woohoo! Loving it, loving it, loving it. Look at all those USD stables coming as well. So these are some of your better options. Obviously, a lot of people are sacrificing it. So if you're wondering what you should sacrifice, this kind of gives you an indication what everyone else is thinking as well. So take that into account. Pablo says, so the most informative stream for Richard Hart projects. Great job. Happy New Year all. Hey, Pablo, appreciate that. Big shout out to you. And Aspire says, thanks for the advice. Let's see how high the Hex token can go before the 9th. Yeah, absolutely. And hello, everybody, says DHEX. Hey, good to see you. And DX 42 million Hex evaporated off the markets. Yes, I know, that's the thing, right? I'm hoping that we get up to $500 million or something. That'd be amazing to get up there, and looking forward to that myself. So very cool. 2022 looks amazing for everything. Hex, Pulsechain, and Pulse, as we call it, and PHEX. It's going to be amazing. Really is going to be amazing. Sergio says, do you think Hex will go up till January 10 and crash it to 50 cents? I do, with the exception that we've got some big buyers coming. It's just knowing when they're going to come in. And I think if the Hex scale starts buying by mid-January, for example, you could see some real buying up going in there. So if it crashed the 10th of January, that might be perfect for something like Hex scale. So it might be a temporary dip. Hex scale could offset a lot of the sacrifice, because they're just wanting to accumulate Hex. They don't care about the PulseX sacrifice. They want cheap Hex. So if the market does go down there and the market buying, then they're going to buy that up, right? So it's a little awkward to tell. So that's why I'm following Kinetics information as quick as possible, because that's going to get a bigger idea when you got buyers coming with millions of dollars potentially. That's going to scale up, no doubt, or it could be quite lumpy as well. People enter those trusts. You get the brokers talking, and they've got $1 billion distribution, but they've got brokers in there talking, hey, yeah, we're going to go for this much, we're going to do this much. We're going to put a little bit in. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to add up, increase the stuff. But Connects was pretty bullish on getting that private financial target sold out pretty quick. His concern, of course, when he was talking to Richard Hart, I think it was around about the 1st of December before the London fork, was that he was talking about the fact that there wasn't much supply. And that's what I've been saying, is that it's not that much supply of liquid Hex in the Uniswap pools, and that's where most of the Hex is. I mean, it's not that much on the centralized exchange the last time I checked. So what are you talking about? 110 million Hex sitting in the Uniswap, I think at the close of day 758. And so that's not a lot. And when you've got a buyer coming with millions, as soon as they buy it, remember the price goes up the square of the value. So as soon as that goes in, you put it, just type into Uniswap, put in $1 million. Obviously it's a market buy, but they're going to have to buy through like 1 inch and matcher and stuff like that. And Kinetics wasn't even aware how to use that. So they're definitely going to, if they're going to be coming in as a commercial buyer, they need to know how to use those tools just to go spread their buys over all the pools on Uniswap. Or in this case, it's also going to be in the future be PulseX as well. So don't forget that you got those type of organizations. Not only are they buying Hex on Ethereum, but they're going to be coming in and buying Hex on a Pulse chain as well. So it's going to be pretty mad. They're also, you think that they're going to scale up, just like Grayscale went from Bitcoin into Ethereum and then setting up trust for Litecoin and all sorts of stuff like that. You can reasonably expect them to be setting it up for Pulse, setting it up for possibly even PulseX. That's it's a fantastic financial opportunity, but it's up the risk scale, right? So your risk return, if you ever seen those charts, on one side you got risk, on the other side you got return. Well, obviously products go up as you go further up. You get riskier and riskier products, right? And so the one thing about crypto's been able to mimic that whole risk and I hope that's the right way. This whole risk and reward curve that you get, where you have very safe bank deposits, or in the most safe, just like US securities, if you call them safe. The safest ones are there, of course, 10-year bonds typically, and you go all the way up to high risk speculation. And one might say penny stocks or something like that right at the end. And obviously in crypto, we've got products that have covered all that whole spectrum. Obviously Hex covered down the more conservative side with the certificate deposit, but then supercharged that with returns, right? So these are some of the groundbreaking stuff that Rich has done with that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that play out. All right, so hey, we're up to 1 hour and 54. I'm going to go up to 2 hours, so we'll be live for 6 more minutes, and then we'll see. I'm sure some of the other epic streamers out there are going to be going in there. It's going to be fun. We're sitting at a pretty good price spot at the moment. It's going to be fun to watch. John Gibbons says, will the volume bonus apply if you sacrificed in 3 separate transactions? Yes, as long as you use the same wallet. So you can sacrifice multiple times using the same wallet. It will add up those amounts sacrificed, and that will add up in the volume multiplier. It must be between the right days, of course, and of course the right days are between the first day here and the 20th of February. As long as you sacrifice multiple times using the same wallet, and that's the way to go. Very cool. Crypto Bob says, how much was the Pulsechain total? Well, it was around about 670, 700 million. Depends on the time snapshot value versus the market value. But that was the kind of the result that was in play then. I think about, I think it was close to 300 million. It was in USD stable. I think a lot of the ETH was converted into USDC, I think, as well. So that was botched it up, that topped that up. That's why it was so high on that amount, which is all those funds, of course. Where are they? What are they going to be used for? That's going to be fascinating to see. The same is true for the PulseX Sacrifice. What will the stable coins be used for? Will it be used to prop up the system? Which is what I'm thinking will probably happen, but you just never know. So we'll watch out for that. Fatal Fury says liquid pool dropped from 120 billion to 107 billion Hex. Says Fatal, nice one there, and good insight, Fatal. And Search says whales need 20 million USDC to double Hex price to get a good rate and sacrifice. Says Search, I like that. And Americans, DHEX says Americans will be waking up soon. They're going to flip at these figures and FOMO. Yeah, I know, that's what we're talking about. The Americans waking up, the Europeans waking up. This is just I don't know who this is that's pushing at the moment. Is it the Australasian market, the Asian markets? It's going to be could be quite crazy, man. We're already up to this epic amount here. Let me just refresh this sacrifice. I think we're up to 59. 59 million. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nice. And that's going up pretty cool. Let's have a look at the time. We've got 10 days and 13 hours and 33 minutes until the penalty starts rising. That means it's going to go up by 1.05 or 5%. and that's the curve there. So you're going to get in early is better. And like I say, we've got stakes, all the big stakes in Hex are ending 2nd of January. So what would that mean? Is it a week later maybe we might get some price increases because not many stakes coming out? Well, how much of the circulating supply that's been coming out in stakes over the last wee while is going to restake, is going to hold for Pulsechain, won't sell down, and so we're going to get a lot more buyer demand. I think it's a little different from the sacrifice phase that we had earlier in July, end of August, 15th July to the 3rd of August. So it's going to be fascinating. We could get 2 waves of price increases during here is kind of the way I'm feeling. Obviously, I don't know the future. I'm just trying to go on the supply and demand forces, which seem to be favorably big. I know that in 2022, the demand is going to be way exceed the supply, in my view. So it's going to be pretty interesting. We also saw the big stake that staked for 12 days and came out yesterday, decide to stake out to the next milestone, the 28th of February, after the sacrifice. So, that was 500 million tokens. And of course, it's pretty interesting to see that. And when they get a lot of T shares, but of course, they get a lower share. The share rate's going up all the time. So those big accounts do get diluted over time. And of course, it gets distributed to all the new users as they come in. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think this is going to be the most fascinating period, not just because of the sacrifice itself, but actually because of the supply and demand dynamics in Hex. So we'll watch out for that. Like I say, if there's a big dolphin out there that wants to sell down their stack, they could do that. So just take that into account. We've still got a bit of that going on as well. So cool. Wean says, let's say the Hex price goes up before the launch. Does my sacrifice Hex go up the value, or does it stay at 34? It will stay at the current price that you sacrificed to that, David, not the future price. David West says Americans have been up all day with the sacrifice. Richard lives in the USA. There are a lot of Americans up. I do agree with that, Dave, but there were a lot more up as well. I'm not sure what time of UTC time was. I think it was the evening, wasn't it, David? I think you might have something on that. I think you might be right about that. Brandon Leclerc says, after missing out on the first sacrifice of the PulseX swap for Pulse before the mainnet goes live for the ETH network, worth transferring across or just keeping PulseX as gains will be better? Well, some people are playing the short-term game on PulseX, but they actually want Pulse, and so they're going to try and get the gains on PulseX and then flip it over to Pulse. So there are quite a few people playing that. RuneSky says, just cost 60 million in ETH on ETH scan. Just cost 60 million on ETH scan. Let me have a look here. Bam. And oh yeah, it did too. Look. Woohoo! Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. Big shout out there. Thanks for that, Rinskies. And Rothko says, hey, Roscoe and Rinskies, I see you guys in chats a lot, so good to see you both in here. RH lives in international waters on a warship. So I thought Richard had moved to Europe now. I could be wrong, but maybe he lives in Mexico. I don't know. He lives in a castle somewhere. That's all I know. He used to live in Florida. Grew up there, but hey, that's the way it rolls. All right, we're coming up on 2 hours, folks. I think that's probably a good live stream, and it is currently 11:30 p.m. at night here. So I'm sure there's going to be others pick up, jump on there and do some live streams over the next wee while, so there won't be too much of a break. Wherever you are around the world, take care of yourself and enjoy your family and friends during this special time. And of course, the excitement, you've got the extra excitement of PulseX Sacrifice. It's going to be pretty awesome. Roscoe says, great work, Hex Token. You don't sleep. Yeah, no way. And Pulse Debater says that's the funniest name. There's 2 funny names in the community. That's one of them. Hey, I logged on what the F says. Pulse Debater. Hey, I've just been on for 2 hours, and this is my 3rd live stream, so it's probably a good time to wind down. My voice is just starting to feel a little bit. Asfire says, yes, Europe is correct. Thanks for the great content as always. Hey, Asfire, appreciate that, and thanks for the support as a Hex Token channel member. Hungarian Hex, send Hex to $1. Hey, every time I send a video on live stream, it does go up. But hey, that's just the way it goes. Raymond says he lives in Europe. Yeah, I think he does. And Dan Smith says, thanks for sure. Thanks, Dan. And Serge says, Castle Switch Luxembourg. I see. So nice one there, Serge. All right, so thanks for watching. Let me just pile this out. Special thanks to John and Aspire, Hex Token channel members. Do appreciate that. Big shout out. And awesome. Alex, our moderator, wasn't in chat. Very, very cool. I will be looking for some moderators in the chat. So I'll be checking out on that for sure. Crypto Bob says, good job. And yeah, good one there, Pulse Debater. And thanks for watching. I misspelt watching, but that's how we roll. All right, so let me get into the chat there. I haven't got any poll for today. I'm going to do a poll next time, I think. Let me post some cool emojis. These are some of the channel emojis that Hex Token members get. So there we are. Enjoy those. And peace out, folks. Watch this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just on, just enter it. Still on day one, just over halfway. And look, we're already up at like 60 million. It's going to be crazy out there. And we've got so long to go. And there's 58 days I counted all up. So it's going to be a mad, mad time. And DHEX says, Richard lives in our hearts. We love you, Richard Hart. Absolutely. And John McGibbon says, thanks again, mate. Great stream. I appreciate that. Roscoe says, peace, brother. Peace out to everybody. I've got to end the live stream now. 2 hours and 1 minute. That sounds pretty good to me.